Are they gonna cut the check? How y'all doing tonight? It's a Sunday night. Glad to have everybody up in the space. How you doing, Mr. Engaging? Dr. Robbie, enough. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing jumping pretty soon right here. Just going ahead, starting on the sun. What's that? Oh yeah, we can do small talk. We just going ahead. Y'all go ahead and tweet out the space for me too while we do this small talk real quick. So uh-huh. Okay. So did y'all already have that debate or y'all setting it up? Okay. Well yeah, go ahead and set that debate up and let me know exactly how you going. What's going on, Wani? We're gonna go in, like I said, we're gonna be getting this started shortly. We're just trying to let some people actually fill in into the actual space and whatnot. So yeah, Ghana and I actually was supposed to have a space tonight talking about damn Brett Favre stealing from the welfare and all of that kind of stuff going on. Brett Favre and the whole yeah, and the whole crazy thing in the NBA going on with actual the dude, the African dude, Nia Long's boyfriend. But I'm like, hey, this came up in the newsroom, so I said, let's go ahead and talk about this. And then I figured that everybody may want to actually discuss this tonight. So we still gonna do the thing about Brett Favre and the welfare thing that they still down there in Mississippi with the help of the governor and everything else like that. But I figured that everybody may actually want to talk about this one right here. Ghana issuing an apology, not only Ghana but the other African nations. But you got to read the actual article and check out exactly what's going on with this thing right here. Like this is almost like that damn the year return type thing going on. So I figured that this would be a good conversation to have tonight. How you doing, Wani? I see you came up as a speaker, Mr. Engaging. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. It's been a little minute since I seen you in the Twitter spaces. How you been doing? No. Oh yeah, appreciate it. I'm sure you're gonna have some. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're gonna have quite a bit that you don't mind sharing with us as well too. So that's why I definitely I wanted to have you come up in the actual space. I'm glad you actually came up in the space because I know you're gonna I know you're pretty opinionated on this type of topic right here. So like I said, man, when I saw it, it came up in the news feed today, and I'm like, what in the world are we talking about right here? So yeah, we definitely. Well, you know what I'm saying? They haven't talked about anything yet. Okay, they about to have an assembly here in America, and it's gonna be about that. So one thing you can do, Miss Engaging, you can always go up there while they having a discussion and hit up the phone or whatever and ask them. Is reparations on the actual agenda and whatnot too, and okay. Oh yeah, well that's good. And too, DJ, I sent you the co-host thing. You was just in the room. I don't know if you let me see if go ahead and I sent you the co-host thing, DJ. So Ray, what's going on, man? Unmute your mic. And we're gonna, like I say, they got and Black Enterprise actually they actually published an article today, and I just want to, it's a really quick article. So when we get a chance, anybody want to add something real quick, please, by all means. And I just want to touch up on you. I'm gonna be the first to tell you, like some of these African names, I can't pronounce these names. Like I'm not even gonna try either. Like so, just to let y'all know that we'll cover it and whatnot. But some of these African names, they're pretty hard to pronounce. So we're gonna do what we can do with it. You got Ray, Ebony. Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Go on, everybody. I don't know how many, but I know I'm pretty sure everyone else feels the same way. But damn, in college, you need to go some paper or at the bare minimum some land. So if you really, really truly learn, that's the way you can show it. Land there. Oh, and want that dual citizenship.
Wait. One second, Mr. Engagement. Let's go ahead and got Ebony with her hands up. So let's wait 1 second.
Oh,
Yeah, Ebony, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I didn't, really, I just had maybe a kind of question or a statement. I'm thinking, the apology, like Wani says, that's no good, but just an apology, that could mean nothing because you never know a person's heart like that. But I just wonder, are they sniffing money? They think we really get ready to give reparations. They're trying to get in on that. I don't know. It just sounds strange to me.
Well, like I say, y'all really need to hear the actual article and whatnot and see exactly how sincere they are and whatnot. Like I said, to me, it kind of sounds a little bit like the whole year return type thing or whatever. But I'll let everybody know, pretty much just form their own opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Go ahead, Mr. Gage, and then go ahead, Wani.
I wasn't finished. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I thought you was finished. Go ahead.
Yeah. I said that because when the year return came, they was trying to extract money from the people that actually went. So, they was charging us for the go to the door, no return, and all this type of stuff. That's why I'm thinking money is what they're interested in. I might be wrong. I don't have no clue, but we'll see. That's all. Thank you.
No problem. Go ahead, Mr. Engaging, and go ahead, Wani.
oh, I can let Lonnie go because I'll go after. I'll be done.
Go ahead, Wani.
Well, I have mentioned that they need to engage with us because you can't just put out an apology without talking because they'll put out these apologies where they say that they fully blame the white guy. They say, well, our people were stolen, and they do this type of thing. And then they say, well, we went over to America and made good. I've seen their letters. They literally say, I've seen Nigerians and Ghanaians say, we went over to America and we did great things. We were astronauts. We went over. We worked for NASA. They are literally out of their minds. They think that they're us. And so the apology is not legitimate because they're still saying that we're the same people and that the white man took us from them. And then they say some little things about some alcohol being exchanged. But I don't want dual citizenship because I don't want citizenship in a third world country. That's a step down. But what I do want is mineral rights. You don't have any money per se, but you have mineral rights. And I don't even, we're not speaking about taking money from the little guy, but they need to cough up some dividends from those minerals that they give all the foreigners. They don't really know what to do with these things. I've seen the Maasai kicking these big stones around, and it turns out like they're worth millions of dollars, but they think it's a annoying boulder in the way, but it's really a gigantic amethyst. So all of that stuff we don't know what to do with. White boys, Asian boys, we don't know what to do with it. We need to call up some dividends from that. And stop charging us for going to see any of these exhibits on slavery. They've been making money on slavery. They've been taking advantage of our sentimentality of coming over there, triple charging us. We shouldn't be charged at all, okay, for seeing those sites. So that's it.
Hey, I'm in 100% agreement with you on that. We want the mineral rights and this and that. And like you said, they're giving it to all the foreigners, the Chinese and the East Indians and the whites and the Arabs and everybody else. So if you really want to go ahead and show reparations, like you say, and if we did want to come over there, the land should be free and everything else should be free as well too, since you quote unquote say this is our homeland. So there should be no issue with you actually giving us, a piece of that pie. So, Mr. Engaging, go ahead, and then we're going to just touch up on this article that Black Enterprise actually published today, talking about the actual apology that they're issuing.
I think this is going to lead right into it. There's going to be a reparation march in Hartford at the state capitol for those that are interested from 4 to 7 p.m. So you already know what my stance is. They need to pay up, including those guys.
Okay, appreciate that. And that's something that like you say, they need to go ahead and pay that money up. So we're gonna actually see. I'm gonna actually read this straight off of the and y'all forgive me because you know how these websites and stuff they have the advertisement popping up. So I'm gonna be scrolling down, actually reading this actual article, just touching up on it. It says Ghana and other African nations who enslaved and sold blacks to Europeans to formally apologize. A cultural assembly is set to converge on Kansas City as a vision of the United Nations Decade of People of African Descent realizes a significant event Wednesday, September 28, 2022. It's time to say what needs to be said to all the African diaspora, and we must have the conversation and resolve our actions and inactions as rulers of our kingdoms during the transatlantic slave trade, which is deeply regretted, as expressed by Nana Obokese, uh, founding president of Obokese University of Excellence. Scrolling down, supported by the only UNESCO creative city of music in the United States, KC, a ceremony will include a pilgrimage to the site of Quaninda Underground Railroad site in Kansas City, Kansas, where dignitaries and 100 delegates from Ghana will gather along with the local and national leaders. The slave trade regularly used the triangular trade route in its middle passage and existed from 16th to 19th century. Some were enslaved and transported to the transatlantic slave trade were people from Central and West Africa that had been sold by other West Africans to Western European slave traders, while others had been conquered directly by the slave traders in the coastal raids. The highly anticipated ceremony will set the tone for the week as an assembly of over 100 Ghanaians is set to promote unity while bridging an international UNESCO, Ghana, UNESCO, Kansas City initiative for a long lasting, fruitful exchange to foster ongoing trade, tourism, and cultural enrichment. And that is the end of that article. That's all they're talking about. So what exactly it sounds to me like it's a business move or whatever. So what exactly is going on? I really can't say. We streaming this live on YouTube as well. So thank you, USN. You said audio is coming loud and clear. I definitely appreciate that. Wani, go ahead and unmute your mic. And also let me say thank you to my brother McCoo. I know brother McCoo, if you're still up in here, thank you for your donation on Cash App. Wani, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you. I just wanted to say on the dual citizenship, we really feel insulted that we were never offered that because the other people, like the Irish, I don't want it, but it's insulting because we do have those ethnicities on our DNA, right? We also have some other ones that they don't want to give up citizenship to. But the point is that some of us have a substantial amount, and they really have never offered dual citizenship. Like the Irish can go back to Ireland, and the Italians can go back to Italy. But we were never offered that, and it's just a slap in the face to not be offered something like that from a third world country. I mean, you're making us. I know someone who waited 30 years to get full citizenship in Ghana, and they were doing business over there, but they had the what do you call it, residency permit.
I mean, in your opinion, I mean, and I know this is some kind of initiative, and like they're talking about a trade and this and that or whatever that's going to come on. But if we actually offer an apology, shouldn't we also be offering, something tangible and some resources to actual Black Americans? Because we're talking about something that's talk about that's going to benefit both parties. But at this point, if you and it's not just not Black Americans, if you're talking about the entire African diaspora, then you should also be offering something to everybody over here that was, a victim of the transatlantic slave trade, the Black people in the Caribbean, the Black people in South America, Latin America, of course, Black Americans. So it shouldn't be something about how can we have this fruitful ongoing trade and this and that, whatever. First, it should be like, okay, this is what we owe you guys. This is what we're going to do to go ahead and try to, we can't correct the wrong that took place, but here's a starting block. This is how we can go ahead and get things started. And then once we go ahead and we give you guys what you're rightfully owed, which in terms of, like you said, minerals, land as well too, then we can go ahead and we can talk about trying to create this across the ocean trade partnership and stuff that will be mutual beneficiary to everybody. Mr. Engaging, you got something to say before I kick it to Mr. Engaging, and anybody else in the actual spot too, our speakers and stuff like that, Aunt La Ray anybody else that wants to speak, by all means, go ahead and just raise your hand.
I just wanted to say what we're seeing is a result of all of our work. We're making a lot of noise.
Definitely agree. Mr. Engaging, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I did a quick search. I didn't see UN's response to this. I know that UN did issue a statement about the case for reparations, but they only kept it confined to like the European nations and stuff of that sort, but didn't go and tap into the African nations. I really would love for the UN to dig more involved in that as well, but I didn't see an article to justify that or any ways of the UN was like supporting that. I was just doubling back. Have you seen anything about that as well?
No, I haven't. One thing I have seen is that the UN has repeatedly said that the United States owes reparations to Black Americans. Now, one thing that we don't really hear about and nobody really makes headway about is that what Africa actually owes not only Black Americans but the entire Black diaspora that they went ahead and helped enslave and shipped around the world. So you pretty much hear about the Europeans and what they owe and this and that, but Africa's pretty much, and I guess this is one way of going ahead trying to quell it or whatnot. Africa has really never said, you know what, we also owe reparations. Now, Africa, they would love reparations from the Europeans, but they have not once said, okay, we know we take full responsibility for what happened. Part of why, one reason why our continent has gone down and this and that was where we participated in this human trafficking for hundreds of years. So in turn, it came back and it bit us in the ass. So this is how we can make up to our people, this and that. But they've never mentioned that. And like I said, the United Nations have never mentioned it, but they have mentioned the United States, and I believe maybe even Great Britain and some of the Western powers from Western Europe. But no, Africa's really never really been put on the spot other than by white people, trying to say, well, hey, you sold your own people and this and that. But in terms of any real government sanctioning body or whatever, to my knowledge, I haven't heard it. What about you, Wani?
No, I have not, but I just wanted to say that they can't use the excuse that the kingdoms that sold slaves don't exist anymore. So if you hear that, no, 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 no. The reason why is because they're trying to get money under their current countries. And they've already admitted that those countries and those regions sold slaves. So you can't try to get money and resources under your country name and then say, oh, whoop, 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 whoop. We don't know where that tribe had been sold. It wasn't a tribe, it was kingdoms, it was large amounts of people. One other thing, Obama was around when the UN said we should have reparations, and he said, no, I'm against it. And it's going to make white people upset or some other bullshit. He's horrible. He's actually a really horrible person. When you look at the stuff, especially that drinking the Flint water, fake BS, and then backstabbing us about reparations, when most of us, people like me, I didn't even know what that word was or what that would look like. So when he said no to it, I didn't even know to be as offended as I am now today.
Yeah, one thing about Obama, when it came to the reparations, Obama put all of the fault pretty much on white people, saying that that white people would never agree to it and this and that or whatever. It was something he never pushed, even when he was leaving office. It's always a topic, and it's not just him; it's all of the people that's in the Democratic Party. That when all of the black people, when you hear them say that, they try their best to go ahead and try to leave up out of that. They don't want to mention that. They don't want to talk about it or anything like that of that nature. So they try their best to do the two step and to go ahead and just leave that whole topic alone. So you're correct about that, Wani. And that's another thing that I always hear when we talk about the actual African kingdoms or the African nations and stuff like that. They say, well, that was hundreds of years ago, and all of those African kingdoms, the Ghana Empire and the Asani or whoever, Songhai, all of them, that they're pretty much gone or whatever. So how can you actually get reparations from kingdoms that are no longer, really around and functioning and whatnot? So that's always an issue. Like when it comes to people saying, okay, well, Africa needs to do this, Africa needs to do that. Like, well, those kingdoms no longer exist. And everything that you see now is really a construct of European, like the Europeans came and they formed the borders and this and that. And even the countries that we got, that gained independence and whatnot, that they're actually were European creations, even though they're black ran nations and stuff like that. So it's always a sidestep. It's always a way of kind of like, just getting away from that. So I agree with you on Obama. Obama really, and maybe too, because Obama is one person that, didn't originate, people didn't come from over here in the United States. He wasn't a product of American slavery. His father was a Kenyan, and he really, Obama was raised by his grandparents, white people and stuff like that. So he had to actually learn about he had to actually learn about black culture and what it was to be black. And Michelle Obama was his first significant black woman that he ever dated. So everything that he learned later on in life about black people, pretty much it wasn't like everybody else that we're brought up in black families and we're taught this and stuff from day one or whatever. It was something that was like totally new to him. Miss Engage, I'm gonna get back to you, but let me get the smooth. Smooth, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, man. With me, man, these people always talking about some solutions and stuff like that. And it's funny because they admit they sold people here, and we don't fought to get these guys over here in the '60s, and they came over with total disrespect. You know what I mean? And life is all about accountability. People ain't took accountability yet, And it's crazy because it's kind of like stuff they say, man. You get socked out in real life. You know what I mean? Like the way they talk down and talk crazy, man, you would get socked the fuck out. So when they get to talking to solutions and stuff like that, you just gotta listen to them talk. But they ain't looking for no solution. They try to talk down like you, punk you out and stuff. It ain't happening. And if it's the African in this room, and we ain't rocking like that. Take accountability, own up to your mistakes. Stop talking about it's a two-way thing. We fought to get y'all over here. Y'all came over here on some sucking shit. Hey, come with that respect. Or get smacked the fuck up with you in my face. That's how I look at it.
I'll say this much right here. It seems like the timing was impeccable with the release of this movie that just came out, The Woman King, and now you have this thing here going on with this actual assembly, and you have over 100 Ghanaians and this and that or whatever coming here, and they're talking about this and that. Like it just seems like what an odd coincidence this was that all of this is just kind of coming around together around the same time. And I'm sure that they had to go ahead and plan this for a while, but with the release of that movie and now this here, I can just see exactly the spin that's going to be put on here. Like I said, to me, it's all kind of falling in line with that whole year of return type thing. And Black Americans went over there and they really spent a lot of money and helped the Ghana's economy and whatnot. So you got to kind of wonder too at the same time. Are the Ghanaians thinking, okay, well, we can get a bunch of Black Americans because I know they're talking about the diaspora. We know more than likely it's going to be Black Americans who actually probably go over there more than any of the other ones and go over there and contribute directly to that economy. So are they looking for another payday? Is this something? I mean, how legit is this? How real is this? Is this just going to be another one-way street? Just is this the form? Is this what we're talking about with Pan African, where it's only Black Americans who go ahead and kick in and put everything else in? Because that's the reason Pan Africanism did not work. It wasn't because of everybody else in the diaspora was just chipping in and we couldn't get things going. It was because you had one group of people who was willing to put in more than any other group of people, and it just felt like it never got going because you never got the participation from everybody that you were supposed to get in there. So let me go ahead and go to Miss Giselle, and then I'm gonna go back to Ebony Queen.
Hey family, what's up, Tyler?
How you doing?
I wanted to say, I think that if they're really going through with this, I would like to see their budget because we found out the last time with Ghana, the reason why Ghana even did the bank return thing was because and it was coming up due, and our people saved Ghana, literally poured all of that money into Ghana and didn't get anything really in return, nothing that was symbolism. Here, you're a king in our kingdom. Like, what's the kingdom? Or you're this or you're that. You're a chief. Like they was giving all these little symbolized. There was a whole bunch of symbolism going on, and they was picking a lot of like people from our like not even people in society, not like our smartest lawyer or like doctors and stuff like that. They was literally pulling people off of large social media platforms, and um, and television. Like it was weird to me, but I would like to see what their budget look like because it sounds like they might be trying to get us to pay their bills, and at the same time thinking if they say I'm sorry because of what we've already done, they already had things that's coming down on them. We're separated. They have no protection anymore. Like if anything goes down there, we're not gonna have a loud outcry like we did with South Africa. um, we're not going to have a loud outcry. You can see the effects of the stuff that they've been doing to us here with SARS up in Nigeria. So we're already the actions that they've been like things that they've been doing against us here in the states because we have not been doing a huge loud outcry anymore. I really feel like this is them feeling like, oh my God, our protection is gone. What the hell are we gonna do now? Let's apologize to the Negroes. Let's apologize really quickly because shit is about to go down. And they see us about to get bad. And they're hoping that we reinvest it to save them as they continue to block us out. And that's in our land, that's just what I feel.
Definitely appreciate you coming in, sister. And my thing is like, where are the other African nations as well too? Because Ghana wasn't the only one that participated in the actual slave trade. So where is Nigeria and Sierra Leone
A
and
whole list. It's a very long list.
oh yeah, and it's just not the west part of Africa either. Like we say, Central Africa also they were participants as well in this actual slave trade as well too. So I mean, it's great that Ghana's coming out and they're setting the tone and they're leading the way and this and that. But got quite a few nations up here that's supposed to be up here as well. Kind of saying what they can do to try to help smooth relations over with us and the diaspora, so to speak, and what exactly are they willing to offer up as well too? Because like I said, right now it's a land grab over there in Africa or whatnot. And everybody has their hands out, and everybody's getting that piece of the land and the minerals and everything else. And not only is it minerally rich, what about the you have some rich land there for agriculture and things of that nature as well too that we could go ahead and we could use as well too to feed ourselves and also get the farming up to par where we could be a world power in terms of the farming industry as well. So I don't hear any of that from any of these other nations and stuff like that. So I definitely want to hear more from this. Ebony, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, you guys were just saying what I wouldn't know what I had mentioned earlier. It's about money. Maybe they sniffing on money and stuff like that. Essentially that we're about to get paid or something. We don't we don't know exactly what it is. Like this just was saying, I don't know what exactly what all it is. Everything you guys said, it makes sense to me. Could be any of that or all of it together. But also, you guys notice that when I don't know if you paid attention on the so-called year of return, right? A whole lot of I know Samuel Jackson, a whole lot of celebrities, so-called celebrities, went over there and got some kind of citizenship. Wasn't in Ghana, or some of them may have been, but a lot of them went over there. Steve probably went over there. I don't think he's got citizenship over there either, but a lot of these so-called celebrities actually went there. So it is something that, like I said, I can't pinpoint it. So yeah.
Wonder go over there.
Stevie Wonder was talking about that he was gonna move over there, but of course Stevie hadn't moved over there yet. So that's one thing he was talking about when you had the whole George Floyd things and everything, the chaos, and shortly after that he was talking about moving over there. But to my knowledge, Stevie hasn't left America and become a citizen of any of those nations yet.
Yeah. You let some of them actually. Well, Samuel Jackson, I did read where I read that he had went to Gabon, and I never even heard of that, but yeah, a few of them did. They even tried to bring Cardi B up, at that time. They didn't go anywhere, but yeah, it's a thing. Thank you.
No problem, sister. Go ahead, Mr. Engaging, and unmute your mic again.
Yeah, I got that article posted on the Jumbotron. My great grandfather is a slave trader, a Nigerian writer. So that wrote in the New Yorker. The hashtag movement. Talked about it a while ago, like several years back, and it's like one of those articles I always keep in the archives for these type of conversations. And yeah, they should be we should get reparations from these guys directly because their descendants are still going around the world and still reaping the benefits off of slavery. So yeah, I really am kind of offended just by just an apology. I think that that's not twice enough.
Wani, in your opinion, who in the West Africa would you say was probably the worst of the actual slave traders, like nations or empires that we know of? Because I know you pretty much you're a historian and whatnot, but who would you say was probably the leader of the pack, so to speak, the absolute worst and maybe the biggest trafficker of human cargo in West Africa, Central Africa as well too. If you have, if you know.
Well, I would say the Slave Coast, which is today Nigeria, but because they really don't know who went where and from who, technically, you could say, I mean, I'm looking at my DNA, it has all of West Africa, it's got a chunk of Congo, it's got a little piece of the hunter-gatherer in South Africa, so the Khoisan, it's got some Southeast African and some of the Madagascar DNA. Yeah, because they brought people over on 17 slave ships, and the Wayans brothers and Muhammad Ali have that Madagascar DNA too. Um, I would still lean toward what is now Nigeria, but they were, I mean, it's all over. It's a lot of places, but mostly Nigeria, what they would call the slave coast.
Yeah, and I've even heard some people say that. I mean, and I don't really know this for certain, but I've even heard some people suggest that even parts of East Africa may have taken part in the transatlantic slave trade. Now, I know you had the trans-Saharan slave trade and whatnot, so I figured that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Wani.
They all took, they all sold slaves. All of the areas, the countries, perhaps not all of the tribes, but all of the countries that we know today participated. We don't have, sorry, not all, we don't have the like the horn countries like Somalia, Ethiopia. We don't really see that represented in our DNA. But remember, the Fulani and some of these other groups of people, they're nomadic. So you could get a couple of, bits of these eastern countries as well because nomadic people are involved and they have their territory going from east to west. So we mostly it was where you see the slave castles built. They had a whole other um, slave market on the East Coast, which Tipper Tip was very popular. He's called an Arab slave trader, but when you look at his picture, he's definitely of African descent. He doesn't look like a typical Arab. And then they had the trans-Saharan slave trade, and so we could have gotten caught up in a lot of these things going back and forth, but primarily ours is definitely the transatlantic slave trade.
Here's the thing that I've heard people say before. I've heard some African people say that well, who's to say that your members, even though you guys got sold into slavery, who's to say that you don't come from, you don't descend from a group of slave traders yourself? Who's to say that your people actually weren't ones that were actually selling human cargo as well, and then they just got caught up in the actual the actual slave industry and became a victim of their own of their own doing. You got it, Wani.
Well, that's actually true. You had some slave traders that would take the slaves to the slave ship. Usually they went to dungeons and, waited for these ships to come. But there's always somebody who's doing something on the side. So they would take people to the slave ship to sell. And the European would put all of them on there. And everybody would be in shackles. But that's not the point. They use that argument that these are your people because I know that a lot of people want to get out of this. Like these are your people, so you can't get mad at us. We're Africans. You're all mixed up together. And the white people want to say, well, you're all people. So think of it like this: if you're a child, right, mother comes in the room, your father comes in the room, and they say, we're going to just take you out of this bedroom and sell you, right, to whoever, a pervert, a human trafficker, we want to sell your organs. What is going to happen? They're going to jail. The people who bought you and your organs are going to jail. It doesn't matter whether who it is. It doesn't matter if we're African and they're African. It doesn't matter if they're my relatives. Your own parents doing something to you to cause them to go to jail, cause them to be fined. All of those relationships don't matter. I believe that, they grabbed up people they didn't like or who they thought they could get away with. The neighboring villages they had issues with. That's mostly what they did. But of course, people got rid of people that owned land, just like when they had those witch roundups. People that had land, they just said, "Oh, this person's a witch," and snatched them off of their land and called them a witch and took their land. So that happened too. People were scared of their neighbors because they were going to get swept up in it and sold into slavery.
Agreed. I mean, agreed. Fear this. Go ahead and unmute your mic. You there, Fear this? Fear this one? I don't know if Fear this may be having some issues with his mic. Fear this, you there? If not, we'll come back to you. I don't know if you may be having some issues with your mic. If so, then we can just come back to you and we'll go to Mr. Engaging. Mr. Engaging, go ahead and unmute your mic and we'll try to get Fear this back up here.
Yeah, in the middle of you guys' conversation, I just punched up for interest was who was the largest slave trader, and they had like an individual. They actually have names. His name's Tipto something, and they said as a part of the large lucrative trade, he led many trading expeditions in Central Africa, constructing profitable trading posts deep in the Congo Basin region that has become well known as a slave trader in Africa, supplying much of the world with black slaves. So, like we can be really frank with this. I think that if we really start investigating, and actually start looking into the stories and stuff, we're gonna actually put names with families and stuff together. That's gonna take reparations over here to do all that. But yeah, there's names of people. We can name names.
But did they name a specific tribe? But Nigeria, who was it? I mean, I know you said the name.
All of them.
Well, all from what I've read in a lot of stuff from my world civ, like majority of the African nations participated. I guess that was like the way of the world at that time, right? I don't agree with that, but we can see that that's what was common practice, unfortunately.
I've heard and I was listening to Professor Black Truth the other day, and he was talking about the actual and Town Biz. We're gonna go ahead and get to you too. Not the I'm gonna get to you right now, but Professor Black Truth was saying that he was talking about the Woman King movie and the propaganda behind it. How pretty much trying to get the onus off of white people and their part in the actual slave trade. But the professor was saying that that pretty much that the actual participation of actual you know Africans or nations or kingdoms that was in it like was minimum, that you didn't have, like, it wasn't how they trying to say that everybody was doing it, so it was okay that the Europeans was doing it, whatever. That he pretty much tried to say that there was a minimum participation of actual Africans in the actual slave trade as compared to the actual propaganda that a lot of Europeans are putting out, saying that the vast majority of Africans participate in the slave trade, so y'all don't have any issue or whatever. Town Biz, I'm going to get to you. Fearless, he had his hand back up, so I guess his communication is better, and then we're going to get to you. So Fearless, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, can y'all hear me regularly? It's some type of voice transformer thing they have on here, so I was trying to see if y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I think a lot of us here in America have already digested role of African kingdoms and what they have done to us. But I think all this is being interjected because of the movie, the Woman King Crazy movie, and how the depiction of what was going on in that movie and how, as you know, most of us know that it was European women directed the movie and produced the movie, but they're trying to cloak themselves or try to put themselves away from the issue of slavery and being that they're not as complicit with what took place with the slaves that came to the Americas, those that came to the Caribbean soil. But the fact is that you still get, and you can apologize whether or not, but still, it's like, look, we know the issue has taken place, and it's going to be a cost. But the thing about it is that it's like more so they want to deflect from the reparations issue, and there is a reparations regardless of if everybody joined in, become a part of the trade and exchange of resources for heartbeats and stuff of that nature. But still, it's like, look, this is a crime against humanity, and you did what you did, but look, you can't take away what you did. So, but see, this is the thing though. A lot of the African countries right now, they're already with receiving from America's government as far as billions of dollars right now. Every year, I actually got a chance to talk to a Liberian back in about maybe around March, April this year, where they basically said that a lot of these countries there, they receive monies from the American government or the Americans, and their own government basically do what they feel with what they receive from America. So basically, they pretty much take away from the quality of life for a lot of the people that live in these countries in different parts. Nigeria, Liberia, just I can just start naming a whole bunch of them are doing just about the same thing. They, they get these little clicks of trying to figure out how much more they can do or receive from America. And, that's that little form of reparations right there. But it's like, they're going to have to come to grips with this to get through with the American government. And that's first and foremost. So many of us already know that right now. But I'm going to chime in to let y'all talk. You want to contribute. But there's a lot to it, man. It's like we just got to stay focused on the paramount, which is very imperative for reparations for our people who built the damn country. So I'm not gonna.
Appreciate it, brother. Let's go ahead and get to town biz. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, good evening. I just feel personally that we shouldn't even accept any apology from any African nation. We shouldn't even accept any apology from Caribbean nation at this point. And we're pretty much moving in a positive direction. And now all of a sudden we're getting all these misdirects and kind of like, all these, kind of like speed bumps thrown in front of us about Africa and all this other stuff. Look, it's 2022, 21st century. We shouldn't even be talking about this right now, accepting apologies and all this other stuff. We need to be right now, when it comes to this whole reparations thing, affiliation, or whatever, we need to be very tribalistic. We need to be almost hostile at this point, because we kind of always listen to what they have to say and get fall asleep at the wheel and they go right back to backstabbing. You cannot change a person. It doesn't matter if it's today, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. We're the same people. They had a chance to get rid of us here in this country. White supremacy said, hey, we want you to help us get rid of these Black Americans, they would be the first in line and everything. This is why a lot of them are joining the prison industrial, industry as COs and everything. They want to get rid of us because they want to have closeness to, to white. And I'm just tired of it. I'm done with it. Good example. I went out Friday night, bar slash restaurant. Most of my regional Black Americans, we all having a good time. DJ playing, cool music. We just all having a good time. Two young ladies, and I'm telling you the truth, the whole vibe is so kind of each other. The guys are kind of like, what's going on? Why the vibe changing? I was sitting there at the bar, and there was a seat open next to me. They both came around by me, and I sit here. He was trying to sit down. They got attitude. I was like, why? And I was like, I'm just being courteous. So I'm kind of going through this explanation, trying to tell these two young ladies, just man, I'm not gonna let your grandstand while I'm sitting here. That looks kind of game goofy. But anyway, so everybody kind of trying to get back into the vibe because we looking at these two girls kind of just standoffish. So I started chit chat, and I'm like, hey, I've heard this song before. Like looking at me like. So Bobby Brown, one of his songs, like the one on theme for the Ghostbusters. Everybody's groovy to it. I'm like, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. You ain't never heard this. And I was like, oh, where you from? First thing I'm like, okay. I was like, where are you from? She's like, I'm from Haiti. And I was like, here's the problem. There's the problem right there. They come into our spots, they come into our areas, they come into our spaces, and they bring a bad vibe. And I'm tired of it. Like, I wanted to tell them, why don't you guys just go? Why don't you guys just leave? I'm tired of you guys, coming into our spaces. Because it's happened plenty of times where we all just have a good time. Somebody will come in, party just gets jacked up, messed up, whatever, and you find out Jamaica, here, they make it. I'm done with it at this point. It's like, I want to be around my people. I want us to move forward with the reparations. I want to move forward with the nation or whatever. I think
Just real quick, brother. I know you mentioned you saying that we shouldn't take apology from the Caribbean, anything else, but in fairness to the Caribbean, they didn't take part in actual slavery. So,
I know, but I don't. I'm at this point. I'm just kind of going in with Africa because they almost bring the same type of attitude when it comes to us.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you. But let me just get this in, brother. But just on this actual topic here, about actual the role in slavery and whatnot, we'd have to actually be honest and say that the actual that they actually dealt with the same fate that we did as well too. So I get we're having the diaspora. Sometimes we're having these back and forth with them and stuff like that about Black Americans this, Black Americans that. So I definitely agree with you on that part there. But just in terms of the actual, they didn't have anything to do with the actual slavery, so to speak. So just to clarify that.
It's just that I'm kind of more tired and fed up with just the attitudes, and it's just like it's the tribalism. We everywhere we go, we try to be cool with people that look like us. shop with them, don't have a problem. Nobody have, none of our people have problems eating at their restaurants, shopping with them, shea butter, oil. People have serious resentment toward us, and it's like we use the same old tropes about lazy, this and that. It's tiring because one thing is it's resentment toward my people. Why are you like in our space? Wanting us, having us buy things from you guys, and it's just at a point now we need to just shut it down to get some straightening with a lot of these folks and let them know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, brother. We're gonna come back to you, but we're gonna kind of get back around. Yeah, no problem, brother. Nice to hear from you tonight. Let's go ahead and get to we're gonna get to Ebony, and then we're gonna get to Miss Giselle, and we'll get back to you, Fridas. Go ahead, Ebony. Unmute your mic. And DJ, if you I know you back and forth between Twitter and whatnot and YouTube. So let me know. I hit you up. I just text you. Let me know what's going on with Twitter as well too.
Everything good over here on the Twitter. It's just the people speaking on the audio of the YouTube. It doesn't sound too good on my tablet.
So what?
And I hear you no problem with YouTube. It's just I don't hear everybody else on YouTube. But go ahead.
Okay, because I put the mic. I'm putting the speaker right on the actual Chromebook. So let me know how it is over there in YouTube too.
Yeah, don't place it directly on top. Just like kind of near, because you'll have a phase out problem, which is 180 cancellation, meaning one voice is going in and out. And the speaker's just reverberating it back. So don't put it directly on top, just near it or whatever. That could be the issue.
Okay, appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Them because they had in my mind, they still have the very biggest part because they did it perpetually. It take you 400 years. How come you could, if you claim you innocent, and for 400 years you still kept us under that when you could have just, set us free and you had opportunity to make restitution many times and you still haven't did it. They're doing it even to this day. Now they in outright denial and trying to say we owe them money. So that's what I feel about it. They just still trying to deflect and put it on the Africans. Everybody's blaming one another. It's like pointing the finger. So that's what I feel about it.
Thank you, sister. I definitely appreciate you. And yeah, it's a lot of deflection going on at this point in time right now. And like I say, with that movie coming out, it definitely doesn't help now too. You got a bunch of people sitting up here talking about they pretty much white folks sitting up here. Of course, white folks always pretty much have deflected. They've always pretty much said it wasn't them and whatnot too. So I'm gonna go back because we haven't heard from Wani in a minute, and then we're gonna get to you, Miss Giselle.
Okay, so let me help with this. White people went over to Africa because they heard that that's where they could get slaves. And they got a lot of slaves, okay? And they brought us over here. They were very brutal. The brutality, unfortunately, did not begin when we got on the slave ship. Africans, and I'll give you an example, like in Ghana, one of the tribes in Ghana said, you can use this land to build a port, right, to the Portuguese. But they built the whole complex. That was African labor, and it's actually African architecture. It's not Portuguese architecture. But they built it to do business with the Portuguese. So when you speak about, like when people try to say, well, Queen Zinga, she didn't participate. Well, she didn't want her people to be enslaved, but she helped set up the Angolan slave trade. And the Dahomey, as we already have discussed, what we're going to have to understand is that Africans, unfortunately, we like to romanticize them, and we want to pretend like they have. We made a whole personality for them that they don't know about. We have said that it takes a village to raise a child, and that they're all okay to be those children and be loving and all of this stuff. We made that up because that's what we wanted to be. But in reality, they had a culture of selling human beings. And let me tell you this, when the owner died, a lot of them killed the slaves with the owner, buried the slaves alive. And when the white man would come up on the shore and say, well, this woman looks pretty scrawny. I don't want her. They cut their head off immediately. They did. The white men were scared to not buy a weak, scrawny slave because of that. They just right there in your face. Boom. And so that was going on. Not viewing people as human. Also, these people were held in dungeons. This is not just my, interpretation of it. The dungeons are still there. If you go over there, they'll give you a tour. They will tell you the truth when you're there. They held them in dungeons for Europeans, and when they were in the dungeons, they were not treated well. A lot of these women had nursing infants. A lot of these people were children. But somehow that is supposed to be okay. They beat people. They captured people. They drugged people to dungeons, held them in the dungeons for you don't know how long. They were in filthy conditions. They were taken out of the dungeons and washed off at nearby lakes because they were covered in filth. And then they would be good enough to get on the slave ship. So that we were abused like hell before we even got on the slave ship. And then of course we had a whole lifetime of abuse here. So they're equally responsible. First of all, I don't know why they're trying to push. I think some people are Pan-Africanists and they're not admitting that. That's fine, but I refuse to live in ignorance anymore. I refuse to do it. I'm not covering up for anybody. I refuse. This is a new day. I'm not covering up. They're going to face it, and anybody who doesn't like it can get mad. Oh, you're anti-black. No, you're anti-black. You put my ancestors on a slave ship. They're not going to flip it on me. They're not going to flip the script and change it and say that if I don't defend them, I'm anti-black. Look at this. If somebody's parents does something to them, you have the right to sue them, put them in jail, and ask for them to be put to death, depending on what they did. You have the right. I don't owe anybody anything. There's plenty of parents out here that have made their children halfway murdered their children, like Diane Downs. She tried to kill all 3 of her kids. Okay, she injured 2 of them critically. They don't want anything to do with her. She's a horrible mother, and Africa was a horrible mother to me, to my mind. And I'm not going to just sweep it under the rug. That's why we don't have the things we need now. We need to let everybody know. No, we're not. Like he said, don't take the apology. No. I don't want your apology. I don't want people kneeling in kente cloth. That's the cloth of the people that sold us. Again, with the gaslighting. Why are you wearing that cloth? That's only one group. Look at our DNA. We have 20-some countries listed. Why? The kente cloth, why? Why are you choosing that? They just do these symbolic things because they think we're ignorant. And I want to make sure we're not ignorant when we get into these conversations with these people.
Okay, Wani, I appreciate that. Wani going in a little bit, whatnot. Shepherd, I saw you putting up a little faces and whatnot up in there. So, by all means, you can grab the mic as always, and in the total spaces, you know how it is, bro. If you want to come up here and speak, we will definitely allow you to speak. Let's go ahead and get back to Miss Giselle. Then we're gonna go to I think it's gonna be Mr. Engage, and then we're gonna get back to you, Fit. So Miss Giselle, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. What one just literally painted a whole picture. Like I didn't know about that beheading part. That is, that's overwhelming. I think our people need to digest that more. When we doing these tours at these Black museums, we need to see that part. Don't show us the part where we got to America. How did we get to America? Say the real story. Don't talk about the experience on the boat because we had to go through something before we got got on the boat. Like, I swear, I never knew anything about the beheading part. I appreciate that part of information. I'm overwhelmed right now. I was visualizing it as you were saying it. Like, that pissed me off. Like, at first I was like, I ain't worried about no African men. What they gonna do for me? They owe the world right now. That's China, like crazy. But I came back up to say, I heard when the guy was talking about America is paying these African countries, because we got to remember America created this mass illusion, this illusion of the home of the free, or the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? So if you're free, you can't have the people inside looking like they're not free. So they masquerade on television. You elevated a couple of us as you torture the rest of us. And those people that's elevated is seen as free. Then you got the people in the middle, who's like a middle class. It looks like we all together in this. In reality, we're still one big Negro that they give no help about. They just use us at different levels. And I feel like that money is kind of like hush money. It's like, look, because I'm coming into your country and I'm taking your resources. Now I'm going to take them by way of you giving it to me for a small fee, or I'm going to come into your country or I'm going to lie on you and make a reason to come into your country in another way and decimate your country and just take it that way, because that's how America acts. So I feel like America has a lot of tentacles in certain things. But I personally, I'm with Wani. We need to get everything from everybody. And this apology is an exception of guilt. If you're apologizing, you're apologizing because you wronged somebody or you did something wrong. Even at the scene of the accident, they tell you the first thing you do is don't admit you're wrong, because that's accepting. That's you accepting fault. And accepting fault means you need to be held accountable for the consequences. So after we finish with America, we damn sure going to go to, we need to hit all of those countries in Africa and really start unpacking the true story, because they got remnants of it, and they better not be paying for that damn tour for the caves or the dungeons that they held us. That's even more disrespectful if they charge us to go to look at those. I'm over it. I'm off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And you guys make sure that you're following the host and the co-host. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and like and share this. Make sure you go ahead, if you can, leave a comment. So go ahead and like and share it. Support us on Facebook, Instagram, and any of our social media platforms. We got us a good discussion going in tonight. I want y'all to, if y'all can, those leave a comment. The few people that's up in the actual, this is our actual first really live stream. So I'm glad to go ahead and try to get this thing going. All my people on Twitter, y'all make sure that you follow us on YouTube as well too. Support us. Support the largest Black curation platform today in America. We got Mr. Engaging. You go ahead and unmute your mic, Mr. Engaging, then we're gonna get to you, Phil.
Hey, okay. If you go for Ant Family, I have a picture with Donnie's talk. Wani was talking about the beheading of the slaves. There's actually pictures if you go on YouTube and such. This is one of the images on the fourth slide in. Also, in the second or the first slide in, I also posted up the Tree of Forgiveness. This is with the Dahomey tribe specifically, where they have black people or African people that were going to be sold off go around the tree as a magical spell for them to forget their homeland. Also, the Dahomey princess that they talk about lightly in that movie, she was beheading people and drinking their blood right now. Like, these are very gruesome ritualistic murders, and that they use to imprison and to terrorize the people before they left the motherland. So, like, yeah, they really need to pay up. There's some very gruesome murders to the point there's like 400s, thousands of people like dying at a time. People also, like, Tone Talks go in on about the brutality of them and the palm oil trade that the Dahomey tribe was specifically involved in as well. Some of these information could be found off of, like, he mentioned a couple of encyclopedias and some other things, but like their killings are like
was no cakewalk there. Like they were really on some other shit, man. Excuse my language. It was really bloody and like really gruesome. And like keep in mind, they drank their blood.
It's like missing engagement. You made a point to put that out there that they drank the blood. Like damn, like you definitely hit hard on that topic right there. That conversation. Like yeah, you said it once and then you came back just to reinforce it. Like yeah, and oh yeah, they drank their blood. Like yikes, like that kind of the visual that I actually there's been a lot of ritual killings lately over there as well too that I've seen. Somebody actually, I don't know if it was my man Jay actually showed me a picture of brother. These two brothers cut a dude's head off, man. Like I wish I really had not seen that actual. Really wish I hadn't actually seen that actual photo, man, because it was pretty disturbing to say the least. Whatever. So also, let me give a shout out to LaFear for your contribution on Cash App. Y'all can support us on Cash App. It's $Newstoter. It's in the Jumbotron. It's $Newstoter. Once again, $Newstoter. Fear, go ahead and unmute your mic, brother. And then we're gonna get to you again, Wani. And anybody else in the space, Black Native, I know you definitely opinionated sister. So any of y'all the usuals that like to come up and speak, Leon and everybody else, we definitely want to get everybody's point of view and opinion on this right here. Very important topic. Is this thing here the apology? Is this some kind of is this just a commercialization little bit production that's being put on? Is things sincere? If it's sincere, what kind of money, intangibles, and land and assets that you are going to give the actual the diaspora that you're talking about. We hear you talking about trading and this and that or whatever. Trade is fine and everything else, but you know what are you going to give us? Because at this point in time, right now, Africa, you got plenty of African nations sitting up here talking about what Europe owes them and this and that and yada 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 yada. And yeah, Europe does owe you some stuff. Europe owes you a lot of money and whatnot, but you also owe a lot as well too. So, and you don't have to write a check, but you can just go ahead and, like Wani said, those the minerals and stuff like that. I want them. I'm not just talking about the minerals as well too, because minerals are great in terms of what you can trade and what you can produce and this and that for currency. But we also want to be able to make sure we can feed ourselves. And you got quite a bit of land over there, you know, in terms of that can do wonders with the agriculture. And we got historically black colleges right here, FAMU, and we got a bunch of other agricultural, mechanical, technical schools and this and that we could do something with that land and whatnot. So the minerals, the actual land that we can feed ourselves, those are things also coastal as well too, you know, just so you want to be by the ocean or whatever, and the ship, the actual fishing industry and all this other type of stuff right here that we can do. Let's go ahead and write out some stuff what we're going to get, and then we could talk about the trade partnerships and everything else. Secondly, go ahead, Fair.
Yeah, I wanted to add something that Wani has said, and I just want to give a shout out to Wani just for being the first one to have traveled to all the countries. So I just want to give flowers for that. I think Megan put her on her channel, and so that's on Megan's channel. She has Wani on that. But let me just say this also, or big up for Wani for that. Let me just say 2 points from what Wani has said about the dungeons. And I think, if anything, you could probably look up this term on how this term came to be, because the term coon, and then how they have the term called barracoon, which is what Zora Neale Hurston's book was identifying for what happened with the Dahomey tribe. And Cujo Lewis was one of the last of the slaves that came to Alabama on the slave ship Clotilda. And that's our verification, like as far as like the last of the slaves from Africa, the Dahomey tribe. But see, this is the thing though, with the term barracoon. That term, I think, is in relation to what Wani has said about the dungeon, where the barracoon is where they would have the slaves in Africa before they were to be transported with the Europeans onto the cargo ships. They will be in wait in this place called Barracoon. Now, even with coming into how the term, I guess maybe got chopped off with this song by Healing and Health, who designed this song called Everyone Has a Flag But the Coon, which jumped off for Marcus Garvey to have this song to be of his reason for his flag, which, if anybody at this point is still rocking that flag, please get some info and reference, because we have it. You don't have to worry about the flag for any reason, because the red, white, blue flag represents our lineage throughout. Each color represents our lineage: red, white, and blue. The thing about Marcus Garvey is RBG flag. He was dedicated more so to the Irish, the green, the Boston Celtic color, and everything else. I can go into in depth with that. Be the Power's already done that, but I just want to say this also. There's two things I put in the jumbotron. When y'all was talking about some of the rituals and stuff, I just put it up there because I still get kind of irked and just get it does me a certain kind of way of knowing that there are people still doing this right now in Africa. It's chopping heads off and just taking body parts for food to eat. Food. So I'm just saying, just take notice. Want to or not? I just wanted to put that there because look, it's still going on. These people are cannibals, or they are just like deranged and just whatever. The blood drinking and stuff. It's just it's all part of their rituals and stuff, man. But I look at it right now. When you look at these people here in this country, those that are going against us as far as who we are, they are like gnats or bugs that come into your house, and you're trying to eat, or you're trying to study, or you're trying to be with your loved one or your children, and gnats and bugs they get around you, but they take up time from you. Focus on what you was already doing, and that's what they are right now. They're just like Europeans or white people and people that are of the immigrants. They are taking up time from us, from being for what we need to be doing in this country that we built. So I say this again, please stay focused, because we got a lot of tentacles that's surrounding us, but as we have done from slavery, from Jim Crow, we can bounce back and get this thing done. We got enough numbers. We got to start getting educated and start getting really into delineation. They have right now this thing called the HR 194 bill. Same thing with what I guess the African slave trade kingdoms I want to do some damn apology. Okay, look, got you for the apology. Look, we come for resources. We come for the currency, because all that apology stuff and stuff like that nature, that ain't doing no reciprocation for what the hell took place. Because words ain't gonna just be about words. You're gonna have something to come with them words later on, once we get through, or when we get this done in here in America. California's already set the tone for us. Shout out to all the people in California who is making it known for our delineation, SB 189. And all we gotta do, y'all, is just fall in place and keep the delineation and stand up and know your stuff. When you're around these people, they look like you, but they not you. And those that are us, we gotta get them inclined to knowing who we are. Because if it's gonna be like this, kinfolk are your kinfolk, but look, they have skinfolk that are not your kinfolk. But if you're going to be of your kinfolk that don't know about your own kinfolk, you're going to be like sinfolk, because you're going against, and you're going to be a coon because you don't have no allegiance to who you are here in America. That's the whole term about what coon is. It's being of, you don't have confidence in your allegiance. People that come to this country, what kind of flag are you representing? Who are you representing? You represent America, or you represent where you came from? And then why are you here in the first place? because you don't have no really answer why you're here, because you try to take away from what we have in this country, and you keep taking stuff. I'm getting sick of that stuff, man. But yeah, man, stay focused, y'all.
Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Mr. Engaging and then Wani.
Oh, you can let Wani go first.
Go ahead, Wani.
I was just going to add on to what Mr. Engaging was saying. There's a gruesome beheading just recently in the IMO, Nigeria. And it was a couple, they were in the military. IMO, Nigeria. Let's see. If you look up IMO beheaded, it'll bring it up. They're an army couple. They were driving to get married. They just took all their wedding pictures before the wedding, and they were, I guess, run off the road. The woman was brutally raped, and her head was cut off. It was extraordinary. I didn't expect to see that. I didn't know what it was going to be, but it was something I had to recover from it for 2 weeks, and I still haven't recovered from it. I don't want to do that to myself anymore. But just when I thought that some of the other parts of Africa wouldn't do those types of things, I found out that in Ethiopia, the Oromo people drink the blood of the other group. I forget the name of the other group. They're on a Harvard paper talking about it, how their flesh is salty and you want to drink their blood. I'm like, what? This is in Harvard. This was said in Harvard. So the people that are coming here, the culture is extraordinarily not ours, and for us to keep pretending that we're brown, so we have the same beliefs. No, we're not. We do not have the same beliefs. I cannot saw someone's head off while they're alive and just go about my day. I don't drink blood. There's another video going around of a woman breastfeeding a dog. I don't do that in my spare time either. There's another video going around of a man dipping some bread in the blood of a Tutsi, not a Tutsi roll, an actual Tutsi tribesman, because they killed him. They don't like Tutsi still. After all that Tutsi Hutu business, they're still over there killing Tutsis on the slide and eating them. And I'm not going to pin the cannibalism solely on Africa, because white people practice cannibalism. We even have a book called The Delectable Negro. They're known for eating us. There's cannibalism in South America. Peruvian people stopped colonialism by eating them. And there's cannibalism in Asia as well, and in Russia. So it's everywhere. But I don't know why they have that attitude that even in Papua New Guinea, you can find this everywhere. They all have the same attitude. If I consume you, I get your powers, and I get a part of you. And you can't stop them from thinking that. They think that. And they also have medicine based on that as well. If I consume these deer antlers, which have testosterone in them, then I'm going to have testosterone. So that's their concept, and you're not going to stop them from doing it. They do it. They've been bringing these gruesome murders over here. We have not paid attention. There was a gruesome murder of a Tanzanian man who skinned his niece, killed her, raped her. She complained. He skinned her. That was here in Wisconsin. But it flew under the radar. It's just a weirdo guy. No, that's the way they kill. You're going to see more hatchets. You're going to see more machetes. You're going to even see daggers coming out as people keep immigrating over here and bringing their ways.
Okay. And just to be fair, everyone, we're not saying that. Just to be fair, I have to go ahead and say this. We're not trying to sit here and say that all Africans are sitting up here practicing cannibalism. So I don't want anybody to actually hear this space or hear it on YouTube or whatever and saying that we're up here labeling Africans as cannibalism, because like Wani said, this happens all over the world. It's been happening all over the world for a very, very long time. So I don't want to sit up here and just say that, all Africans, are cannibalisms, doing cannibalism. So just to be fair, that's not what we're saying. So I don't want anybody to come into the space saying, okay, this and all Africans are cannibalisms, doing cannibalism and stuff. That's not what we're saying. They just somehow it was a couple examples of cannibalism that have been going on and has been going on lately. That has been making the news too over there in Africa as well, too in Nigeria and those places and stuff like that. You seem to see a surge of it. So that's not to sit here and say that because, like we know, Jeffrey Dahmer, right here in the good old America, U.S. of A. was one of the most outrageous cannibal there ever were. So I mean, we're definitely not saying that. This is something that goes on, like she said, all over the world. Been going on all over the world. I ain't gonna say since the beginning of the time, but damn near. So just want to go ahead and just make that just put that out just for the sake of argument. Mr. Engaging, we'll go ahead and we'll get back to you, and then we'll
Yeah,
get
you can.
go ahead. What's that?
I said, yeah, you could throw Mr. Ed Buck into the category of that conversation too, if you want to bring it up to the modern day era as well. I also want to touch upon like these killings are ritualistic, magical killings. I really want to harp on that a little bit more in the guise of this is Newstoter. I'm sorry, man. This is what they do, man. Like some of them do.
Yeah. Like you said, this is what some of them do. We're not gonna sit
Some
up
of
here.
them do,
Yeah,
and some of them do in the culture.
yeah, because I'm sure Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela wasn't eating the flesh of other people and stuff. So we just gonna say this is what some of them do, and it might be what a good number of them do. We're not gonna.
Yeah.
We can't sit up because, like I said, we're seeing it. We're seeing a surge of it and stuff in the newspapers and stuff. Like I'm seeing it myself in the news and stuff. I'm seeing these actual ritual killings and stuff like that going on. So you're not making this up. It's for whatever reason. I don't know why in the hell we're having that. I'm seeing it in Nigeria that you're having these people, starting to chomp down and eat other people for what? I have absolutely no idea. But yeah, we're just gonna say that it's what some of them do. It's what a number of them do or whatever. But I'm not gonna sit up here and say that's what all of them do because that's not what all of them do. But we're seeing a rise of it. Let's put it that way. We're seeing a significant rise of it in Nigeria alone. So I can't say the other countries, but I know in Nigeria it's happening quite a bit in some areas of Nigeria. But go ahead, Mr. Engaging.
Yeah, well, I was more or less getting at is that they practice a sort of like we're more of a Christian nation. Like I don't practice all that stuff, but that's just how the United States is. But the truth of the matter is these guys or some of them practice some very dangerous magic, and they thinking that by consuming these people is they're actually gaining their strength, and that's a little creepy to me, man. Like that's way off the spectrum of what the average like black person is accustomed to. Like we're not going around involved and stuff like that. People might say, well, you go to church and you do the blood, and those are that's not what we do with crackers and wine is not they do with blood and meat. You get what I mean? So it's a different perspective, and I think that we as a culture are not accustomed to, and we should be educated and know what they're up to a little bit more, and understand these rituals and how does this play into American society, how does that play into our interactions with each other, and just be on guard because that's I wouldn't say that your individual is very sane if they practice these obscure behaviors. I think that they're very. I think that those practices could collapse society by the way how they practice the things that some of these individuals practice.
Yeah, no problem. Like you say, it's happening. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and deny it. I mean, it's happening over there. Why is it happening? I couldn't tell you because I don't live over there. I don't see how in the hell eating somebody is going to actually transfer their energy and their spirit and all this other nonsense. It's dangerous to even think some crap like that. So why something like this would be going on? And we're living and we're in the year 2022 and to sit up here and think some of this backwards stuff. And because that is backwards. I mean, sitting up here thinking that you can devour somebody and you're getting their soul and their energy and all this other nonsense. And the people, and it's going to be up to the people over there to actually check them and whatnot and get them in line and whatnot. So I'm not sure. I believe Miss Giselle, I'm gonna go ahead.
Wait, I have one more statement. Why hasn't the UN haven't like
hammer down on that type of behavior per se. Like like for example, when Chinese people eat dog and stuff of that nature, they at least kind of give some type of sanctions or some type of saying like, hey, this is not what we do in a developed society per se, in a global society per se. Why are these type of sanctions are not put on these type of guys? That's my question to like the UN and like in government politics. They normally try to force LGBTQ plus down their throat. I would prefer they like say stop this behavior because it's backwards or it's detrimental to society. You get what I'm getting at, Newstoter?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, and just to be on the fair side, when the Chinese were eating the dogs and stuff, that the UN might have said something, but they still ain't stopping from eating them. I mean, they still over there. I think when they had one of those Olympics came to one of those countries over there, and they was trying to get the people to take the dogs off of the menu and this and that. And yeah, a lot of people that was some resistance about it because like, hey, this is our culture and this and that. So the UN can say what they want to, but people still gonna practice what they believe to be their culture. So that much I don't know. I don't know why they won't go ahead and stop it, but I'm more worried really if you want to eat dog or whatever, fine. Like you say, the actual eating people, I have a much bigger issue with that there. And also I have a issue the UN needs to worry about, like you say, the actual trying to get some of these nations, the European nations and the African nations to go ahead because the UN has already said what the U.S. owes, that the U.S. owes reparations and stuff. So they need to go ahead and get on the African nations as well too and try to get them aboard and make them go ahead and because let's be for real, if these African nations that the UN got down their throat about reparations and stuff, since the UN is made up of white people, they would sit attentive and they would probably go ahead and listen and do what they say because they have more respect for white folks than they do for you and I. So if the UN rode them hard enough and whatnot, they could get some of these black nations over there in Africa to sit up and obey, like they've always got them to sit up and obey and take orders and listen and follow directions from them and whatnot because they look at them as being some kind of gods and whatnot. So they can definitely go ahead and get a lot of them on board. Miss Giselle, go ahead and unmute your mic, and then we're gonna go to you, Town Biz.
All right, and I'm back at it now. It's a couple of things. One, China has the actual restaurant where you can donate your body if you want to sell it, and people do it. So just to let you know, cannibalism is alive and well in China. Just to put that on the table, they don't care what you eat. And go look it up. That's the crazy. Another thing, when we talk about the cannibalism, it's a lot with the blood. Why? We have people like Kim Kardashian and many other Hollywood people who do blood facials. It was on Ellen. They talked about it on live television and made jokes about it. They use fetal blood to put on their faces because it makes them useful. Please believe it's not just a saying. It's not a silly thing. It's stuff that they're getting out of this. And we have to take it very serious because of the amount of black bodies that go missing every year. Even with COVID, we still had a lot of missing people. And I feel like that was the reason why they opened up America so quickly because in December, everything was shut down. By January, everything was opened back up again. So we got to pay attention to that because those missing bodies and no remnants of them, it's a reason for all of that. Now, in addition to organ stealing, we got to take this back to American culture. A lot of American culture is built on cannibalism. If you notice back in the 40s and the 50s, hamburgers became a popular thing. Why? Because black people no longer wear insurance, right? So if the president, Washington, wasn't it? One of them had teeth from a Negro in his mouth. What do you think they did after we were uninsured? We were no longer there covered by insurance policy. Even the saying, you only kill what you eat, is based around that. That's why what they would do before they would lynch our men, they would chase them. Like they would taunt them to get their adrenaline up. So we got to be honest about these stories. They would taunt them, get their adrenaline up. Once they get their adrenaline up, they would lynch them. So that fear, and they would let them, and they wouldn't even be dead before they chopped off their penises. And then they would burn them to purify them, because that's what you do right before you eat them at the picnic. superior way to put that. And I've been in church all my life, and I love God. I really believe that Savior, absolutely. But this is a fact. And I don't want to drink nobody's blood. I always thought it was weird when I was young. But last thought, hamburgers. They try to tell us hamburgers came from Hamburger, Germany. No, they try to put it over there. But back in the day, I remember my grandmother and them always saying, it's human blood in some of that meat. So we got to cook it down. The way they would cook down the meat. And I was always wonder why they would say human blood in that meat. Black people were not into hamburgers back in the day, guys, because we run a damn hamburger. That's why the stuff you put on a hamburger looks like stuff. You got the mustard that is that's like the mucus, and you got the ketchup that's like the blood. These people are disgusting. And when they would kill you, they roasted you and they ate you. That's why they only killed. You only kill what you're gonna eat. And I land. Some of these people wasn't even. They'll have them hanging from the trees, and you'll still find them. Others you didn't. Others they were like destroyed. Some people some of them was just killing people just because it was a fun thing, and they liked to watch that man get killed and chopped off the penis because it made them feel like they had power. Just put us to think a little bit deeper. That cannibalism thing is not like a whole African thing. It's all of them. All them people. Them Africans act just like the Europeans. All the way. And they have no characteristics like us. And one last thing. In Maryland, a couple of years back, I think like 2 or 3 years, it was a torso found in the middle of an alley. We've never had an experience like that. Everybody thought it was Trump's people who did it because they were in town. And I was with it. But you know what? We also had an influx of people from out of this country. And we, honestly, if you look back in the day, like the 60s to the 50s, the biggest issues that we had with violence was mostly domestic. And we did have some like gang, like street violence, but people usually handled it with like fighting. That whole shooting people was like that was a white thing. Like black people were not like that. That's why when all of the violence and everything, it was like stop the war and drugs. I remember my grandmother saying, that's not an issue we got to worry about because that's not how we are in this community. Then 2 or 3 years later, we decimated with crack. So we got to pay attention to how this hand is moving in LA.
All right. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Town Biz, and let me go ahead and thank also Michelle. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App as well. It's greatly appreciated. We're gonna go Town Biz, and we're gonna go Feared, and we're gonna go Mr. Engaging. So Town Biz, go ahead and let's y'all, if we can, let's talk about also. Let's try to get back on the actual Ghana and the Western nations and Central nations of Africa, the actual reparations, the actual what's old and we could definitely mix in what's going on as well too in the community and what's going on over there on the continent as well too. But let's go ahead and let's try to also let's target and let's see exactly what this whole thing is. Is this like a finesse right here? Is this another grift scheme, or what exactly is it? Could this be beneficial to black people? Exactly how is black people should we call out the actual this whole thing, because September 28th they're supposed to be coming over here with 100 Ghanaian dignitaries or whatever. They're supposed to be sitting up here talking about the actual making an apology to the entire diaspora, and that would be us. That would be the Caribbean and South America and all the other places that they took slaves to and whatnot. So exactly how can we, the grassroots, how can we go ahead and seize this opportunity to go ahead and put these people, and put our demands on them and let them know exactly what's going to be tolerated, what's not going to be tolerated and whatnot. So let's go ahead and try to formulate some ideas and whatnot of exactly how, we can go ahead and we can further our agenda as always and see exactly what's going on and whatnot. So, like I say, a matter of fact, Town, because we got a new speaker, Original up here. Let's go ahead and let Original, and then I'll get to you, Town. So Original, go ahead and unmute your mic. You low, brother. You really, really low.
Oh, can you? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Okay. Yeah, see, I want to say this. Now, back in the 90s, and I can't think of this lady's name, she had a form of albinism where she was from Africa. And they were snatching babies that had, albinism or they were like light skin. And I can't recall, I think it was in like the eastern region of Africa around Kenya or somewhere like that. But they were consuming those people and babies as if, again, they had special power. And so, and she was out on a tour trying to get, support from people around the world to, let them know that this is going on and it has to stop. And I can't recall exactly how successful she was, but they've been doing that in all facets for quite some time. And and I have to say, I am happy. Like I said, I used to rock with the Pan Africanism and all of that, but my issue with them now is that they are not coming out. They're not denouncing the tethers. They are allowing the tethers to attack us and blaming us, saying that, oh, we did something wrong. No, we didn't do anything. We responded to an attack, and that's what happened. But I want to say, has anyone been in a space where with some of these Pan Africans where they're pushing this narrative, and what are some of their responses? Because I think that has to be checked as well. And as far as the Ghanaians coming here with an apology, um, they're going to have to come with more than an apology because if we're making financial demands from this government, the same thing needs to apply because I really can't say that I would be willing to go over there and live. Now I know it's a mineral rich country and there's a number of things that are going on with people there making money. But going to some of these places, would it be is it feasible for us to go over whether we going over there to visit or what? Is that going to be feasible? Because what I'm seeing online now is just it's just like it's total insanity. You got bestiality and everything else going on over there, and and like you said, the people eating the dogs and stuff. But and someone mentioned China. I don't know if anybody remember this. Several years ago, it was I'd say about maybe 7 to 10 years ago, there was this exhibit that it was called Body, and it was going it paraded around the country where it came from China. All these bodies, they were Asian bodies, and they had
Yes, I remember this.
yeah,
You know exactly what's up there. Where
yeah,
they had you were looking death in the eyes. Yes, sir,
yeah,
buddy.
yes, exactly. And so I work in a research center, and they wanted. I told them, I said, look, I am not going to see this. I said, but the majority of people I work with, they went and viewed the bodies, and these people all these people came from China, and so this stuff is real. Whereby they skin these people and they for lack of a better phrase, they mummified the bodies in such a way where you can see the internal organs, and I mean it was gruesome. But a lot of these white folks I work with, they didn't have a problem going to see this. This is insane. But I just want to say that maybe I think it would be great if we could get some of these so-called Pan Africanists to really come out and have a dialogue, just an honest dialogue about why are they supporting, these black immigrants, and they're saying that we're wrong because I don't think we're doing anything wrong. I mean, years ago I may have been against you all, but now I'm 10 toes down in solidarity with you, and I'll land on that.
All right, I see we got another speaker in here. And I don't know if I've ever seen you speaking here. I see that you follow me with a Million Man Army. Go ahead and unmute your mic. It's gonna be interesting to see what you got to say.
I'm Miles, Million Man Army. So I actually don't think any African nation should apologize for slavery at all. Because first of all, none of these countries existed during the transatlantic slave trade. None of them were responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. And yes, there were individuals that were responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. They should apologize. So, Madame Tanuka, for example, she was involved in the transatlantic slave trade. She should apologize, but unfortunately, she's dead. So, there you go.
So your point of coming in here was basically just a troll because the actual nations, the nations themselves are saying that they're going to apologize, but you're sitting up here saying that the nations shouldn't apologize.
Apologize. That's dumb. Why would you apologize for something that you never did?
Well, they're apologizing because their descendants played a role in it, and that I mean, they have benefited. You got some of these people that's immensely rich off of what their actual ancestors did.
No. So, if someone within a company does something wrong, should the company apologize? Like,
By your same statement, you're saying that the United States of America, which you had they've apologized at times for slavery, that they shouldn't say anything because all the people that own slaves are dead, right?
no, that's different because the United States government actually sanctioned like slavery and slave trade. That's two different things. America existed during
So did they.
the slave trade. No, they didn't.
And so they had contracts that were going back and forth from Europe. You have an article that I posted up on the Jumbotron that says my great grandfather is a Nigerian slave trader. What are you talking about?
Article is incorrect. So
That article, how is that article incorrectly worded?
Hold on, Mr. Engagement. Let's go ahead and let this fella speak, and then we'll go ahead and we'll give everybody an opportunity. But we can only have one speak at a time, and we'll go ahead and we'll let everybody that wants to speak and actually dissect what he's saying. Go ahead. So go ahead, because no matter what you're saying, the United States government is made up of people and whatnot. So everybody that was alive during the time of slavery, even this country, they're dead. Everybody that owns slaves are dead. So I know you're saying, well, the government is around and this and that, but nonetheless, the people that actually, because there is without the country themselves and all these other things right here, are all made up of people. So everybody who was alive that took place that owned slaves and whatnot in this country are all dead.
that's incorrect. Like,
So tell me, who's alive from slavery right now that owns slaves? Who?
so I'm saying that like you can't come after the country itself. You got to come for after the individuals and maybe their descendants. If you have anyone, like you can't say Ghana was responsible for the slave trade. Ghana didn't exist. The government didn't exist.
Could you not come after the tribes that's still around too?
You can't come after the tribe because not everyone.
May I answer this real quick?
Can I finish first?
May I answer this real quick?
Hold on, let him go ahead real quick, Wani. Go ahead, sir, and I'm gonna give you a minute to go ahead and make your point.
Again, you come after the individuals and their descendants. You don't come after the Akan people. You don't come after the Yorubas because not every Yoruba person was responsible for the surrender of the slave trade. There's a lot of Yorubas that actually came to Brazil. Like, how does that make any fucking sense? They were also victims of the slave trade as well. Like, that makes no goddamn sense to go after them. Like, they were also victims as well. You have to be individuals, the chiefs, the warriors, the soldiers, or whatever that were actually responsible for trading some of their ancestors into slavery. That's what people come after. Like I said,
Let me ask you a real quick question, sir, and then we're gonna go ahead and because there's people that want. But were you born in the United States of America?
No, I was not born in the United States of America.
Where were you born at?
I was born in Mauritania.
Okay, I figured that much.
Okay, they still sell slaves here. Let me answer this real quick. If Ghana is not responsible, the country of Ghana is not responsible for selling slaves, and only some Ashanti are, then why is Ghana, the country, suing the West for money and for being colonized under the name of Ghana? They're not.
Because they can.
No. That's where they completely messed up. You already claimed that you sold slaves. You already claimed that you wouldn't get the money that you wanted from the slave trade from the West, and you're asking for reparations from the slave trade. So therefore, Ghana is responsible. It's on record.
No, they're not.
Yes, it is.
No, they're not.
You can't ask for money under
Hold
a
on.
country and then
They
say
can
you're not
sue for.
responsible
Hold
for
on.
the same action under a country. You're finished. Thank you.
Hold on. They can sue for colonialism because
I think one of the reasons that because sir that I believe that because you're not a descendant of American slavery that you actually don't feel like the actual Africans did anything wrong. I mean that's just my personal opinion. You're talking about you made a statement where you're saying and that statement could be made for anybody in the world. That statement could be made for the United States. You're trying to find a way in these own hold on, sir. You're trying to find a way to go ahead and say that they're not responsible. At the same time, you don't have an issue like she just mentioned. You don't have an issue with Ghana suing the actual West and trying to get money and this and that. Even though the Ghana nation that's around today, is not the same Ghana from back in 1700 or whatever. So now you, like I said, you're just trying to use semantics because, like I said, you're not an actual person who's a descendant of American slavery in this country. So
Yeah, can I just quickly address that?
I'm gonna go let you quickly listen. I'm gonna give you 40 seconds and then we're gonna move on to the next speaker.
I'm not saying.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying you would go after the individuals that were actually responsible. And
Sir, you can't go after the individuals. I mean, let's stop it. You can't go after people that's been dead for 200-300 years, sir. How are you going to go after the individuals?
like, yeah, you can go after their descendants, I guess, if they actually have any money.
And then you can go after the tribe as well, too. What are you talking about? If you're going to go after the descendants, their descendants are actually these people that was in the tribe as well, too. So you can't go after the homie, is what you're saying.
Hold on. First, with the homie, it's not a tribe. It was an empire.
Whatever. I'm saying you can't go after their bloodline.
Hold on. So, by your logic, I can also for reparations as well because your ancestors might have sold my ancestors.
See, that's that, and that is what I said right there. And like I said, your country is still selling slaves to this day. Okay, so what are you talking about?
So what, man?
And so what? What the hell are you talking about? So what? I mean, are you that much of an idiot, nigga? Come on, please.
I can sue you for selling some of my ancestors.
I can sue your ass for selling all of our ancestors.
Yeah, I'll sue you as well then.
Okay, so then I can sue you. Well, your ass shouldn't even be over here. You talking noise? What are you talking about? Why don't you go back over there to your place and stop your people from selling slaves a day? Why don't you man up? Why don't you man up and be a man and stop your people from selling slaves right now instead of being a coward who just ran and left his country? Why don't you go over there with the rest of your people and you stop the slavery that's going on today? Because guess what? Nobody in my country, you talking about, well, my people might have sold slaves. Well, my people not over here selling slaves right now. So why don't you go back home, man up, and sell and stop your people from selling slaves right today? Go ahead and answer that. Why you can't stop your own people from selling slaves in 2022?
We don't sell slaves, man.
Okay, sure you don't, buddy. There's no slavery going on the African continent.
Hold on. There's slavery going on in America right now.
There's more slavery going on in Africa than there is in America.
Yeah, and I'm talking
they're selling slaves now. They just made it.
No, they're not selling slaves. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you are.
They have mental slavery, and that's slavery.
Okay, so sir, you troll enough. Okay,
I'm not trolling. That's a crazy thing.
Okay, sir.
I'm gonna look it up. They just decriminalized selling slaves in the 2000s. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Shepard, go ahead, because I know Shepard. Go ahead and unmute your mic, and then we're gonna move around and we're gonna get back to some speakers.
Yo, that was crazy. I started off a little agreement with him, some of his points, like a couple of his points I understand, but the ending part, I don't agree with bro from Mauritania. Mauritania just was the last country in the world to end slavery. Literally, the very last country in the world. I think it was 2018 they officially ended slavery. So
2008.
Yeah, 18 I thought. But if it's 8, that's fine. The point stands. So
it was 1981, but it was still not criminalized.
Got you. All right, I'm gonna speak without being interrupted, guys.
And go ahead, man.
That's just the etiquette of the room. So let's maintain discipline, and I'll do the same. So Mauritania had a lot of slaves, in the history of slavery as well. So I started off agreeing with him a little bit, but towards the end and towards the middle, he kind of was going a little bit left. I understand what he was trying to say. He just didn't understand how to articulate it. I also don't agree with making everyone's rationale, if they're not American, that their rationale is somehow clouded. There are intellectuals all over the world that have fought for African American FBA freedoms that did not come from America and have really added a lot to academia, to revolution, that are really down for the cause. So let's not group everybody in one box just because they're non-FBA, and that means they have this secret rationale. Because I'm about allyship and partnership with anybody who wants to partnership with me. Like Malcolm said, I'm an ally with anybody who's a brother to me. You know, I think y'all call that being on code. I don't call it that, but it's kind of the same thing. So with that being said, I'm like this, y'all. I like the apology from Ghana. I like the apology from African nations. I don't think it hurts the conversation at all to recognize where cultures have fallen short. I think we also have to bear in mind, and I don't think a lot of people do, that we're talking about something called presentism. Presentism. It means we're attributing our present evolved human mind state to cultures that were 400 or 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 15 before Christ. Like these, if you look at the Bible, if you try to apply presentism to the Bible, you wouldn't follow Christianity anymore either. If you try to apply presentism to Muslim countries like Mauritania and other North African slave trading nations, you wouldn't want to be a Muslim anymore. Everything that you're saying that applies to African tribes or African nations also applies to religion, right? So by saying you denounce or you're boycotting something in the presentism frame of mind, you got to go back. It's actually no stopping that train. You got to go back to Christianity and the slavery in Christianity. Why are you considering yourself a Christian? Why do you have a white picture of Jesus on the wall? Presentism is kind of a tough spot to put yourself in intellectually because there's no end game to presentism. So I just wanted to make that clear, whether you agree with me or not. There's literally no way to escape the argument of putting a 1,000 or 1,500-year-old culture in today's frame of mind. We are like, you know, we're not the same. We don't even think the same. We understand more about humanity. We understand more about treating people, you know, right and human, right? So the last thing I want to land on, because there's a lot of people I want to hear from as well, is that Africans and to a certain extent African Americans, we have 9 sequences in genomes, while Europeans only have 6, and apes only have 3, and we are for the longest time the most highly evolved human beings on this planet, and I'm not separating from the source of the evolution. They recently came out with something called ghost DNA that's found in Africans, but they've been hiding studies that prove that Africans and African Americans, see, we're mixed with that European, so our genomes and our sequences aren't as pure, right? You got to understand that we've been raped for 400 years. So Africans and African Americans are the most highly evolved creatures on the planet. So, of course, we're going to evolve. There's no race of people, no genetic markers that we all share, whether we are the same, you know, there's no genetic markers that we all share that is as evolved as us. That's why we survived the 400 years of slavery. That's why the Africans under British colonization and the Dutch and their arms chopped off and all of the stuff that the Europeans did to Africans, that's why they survived. We're just smarter. And it's scientifically proven that we are smarter, we are more adaptable. That's why we thrive. You say, well, why do we thrive in every sport? Everything we have an even playing field in the world, we thrive at, whether it's music, sports, or even you see all the geniuses. Because we have more sequences in our DNA, right, and genetic combinations in our DNA, that's why you see we have a higher ratio of intelligence as Black people worldwide. That's why you see all these we have a unlimited almost threshold. Sometimes people try to go off into the melanin and that type of kind of Hotepish stuff, but it's all really rooted in science. So let me land right here, Dr. Yacht, right? I don't separate myself from Africa as a Black nationalist because to me, that is the root, that is the soil, that is the purest soil of our intelligence, of our knowledge, right? And I don't adopt a lot of your philosophy, right? Not because I disagree with all of them, right? I'm 100% with you with lineage-based reparations. I'm like 50-50 with y'all. But I don't adopt a lot of your ideology just because I'm never disconnecting myself from the source of the purity where we got our genomes, where we got our intelligence from, right? There's something to that. I think there's some connection, whether we want to admit it or not. And I'm not letting an American flag or an American colonial, nation separate me. You already separated me once, right? From Africa. Now in 2022, I'm not waving American flag. I'm not being equally separated again. So with that, I don't think anybody who's spoken is wrong. Everybody's opinion is valid, Like, whatever y'all saying, I'm not gonna argue with you back and forth over something that I really partially agree with. That's all.
All right, appreciate it. Yule, I'm gonna go ahead and get a new speaker here. Yule, go ahead and unmute your mic.
How you doing? And I'm going to answer the topic. Should Ghana and African nations apologize for growing slavery? Yes. Since I'm Haitian, we actually are descendants of Dahomey Empire, and the president of Benin Republic is a descendant of that tribe. He actually apologized to Haiti and Senegal. Like those two governments actually offer land to Haitians. You can look it up. So I do agree they should actually reach out to the diaspora and apologize and offer you guys land or some type of thing, because they did it for Haitians also. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Let's go ahead in town. I know you had your hand up, so go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, kind of trying to bring it back to the topic. I mean, the apology. I mean, it's pretty much would be a nothing burger at this point. And I just want to put out there that I don't have any hate toward Africans.
Hey, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you kind of was talking and you broke up.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Well, are you finished?
Africans are
Yeah.
But no, just quick questions I have to ask about this whole thing about like just trying to do business with Africans. How would it work? The logistics. Us going over there, we already know we kind of have problems and issues dealing with them over here. How would it work if we're going over there? We'll go over there, we'll try to get it popping, and I mean, we're getting the jealousy, the hate, the envy over here. How would it work out if we were over there on their land, actually under their terms? How do you guys or anybody in the room think it would pan out, especially with all the horror stories we just heard about people eating, cannibalism and everything? And I know there's some folks over there that probably work with this and deal with this, would be cool, but it's just a lot of tribalisms that go on over there. So how would it, directed toward, the room and to you, how do you think it would pan out, how it would work out?
Well, first, I think you would have to try to create some kind of committee or organization, like you say, to actually talk about the logistics and everything else that would go into actually forming some kind of business and whatnot. So you'd have to have people meet on our end and people meet on their end to actually see how you would go about formulating something like that. So whatever kind of economists and business people you have in the Black American community, you would want to go ahead and assemble your best minds, create some kind of think tank, and see exactly how you go about implementing business structures and everything like that too. But like I said, you would have to meet with people that live over there in these Western African nations and whatnot too. And you guys would have to come to some kind of understanding and about how things will be run and whatnot like that. That's my best bet. I really couldn't say because I've never had a business in a foreign nation, so I would not know. But you need to create some kind of think tank and committee and whatnot, and you'd have to have a sit down with the people who nation you're gonna be going to and doing business with and whatnot too, and just it depends on what type of business you're trying to run and everything else. So that would be something worth looking at, sitting down and discussing and whatnot. But we never really have gotten to that point on a large scale. Yeah, you have Black people that go over there and they invest in Africa and stuff like that too. But we've never really had on a large scale Black Americans going to Africa and investing and creating business and business models and stuff like that. So, your guess would be as good as mine. But just in a short answer, what I said, I think that would be a step in the right direction. Of course, I know you have some people that may be better suited of actually answering that question in this actual space than myself. So we're gonna get back to you, Town, and we're gonna move it around the room. Fear, I know you had your hand up, so go ahead. We're gonna go to Fear, then we're gonna go to Wani, then we're gonna go to Mr. Engaging. We'll get to Shepherd, and we'll get back to you, Yul.
Yeah, I wanted to. I'm gonna answer some of the things that may clear up some void spots in some of the conversations that came up or people that came up to speak. One is about this thing about going to the project in Africa, different countries. I think all that stuff is just a reflection of what's going on here in America. And we have the tea kettle is hot right here in America about what needs to go down here in America. I don't see anything to transpire for an apology with any African country right now. If they apologize or not, look, that's way down the road because the Jumbotron, I think I put this up about, you'll see that there is a diagram that shows a lot of the African countries right now that are getting resources or monies or subsidies from the American government. So that's a big deflection, and that's something that's way down the road. That's like maybe when my grandchildren's children are born, but not right now. But a lot of the things that's been with African countries was cannibalism. Well, let me just say this about this pan-African thing. You don't hear too many people like Dr. Umar Johnson speaking out about Pan-Africanism right now because one thing, look, his school is still not up, which would be a Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass school. That doesn't even make sense because you need to put out more Frederick Douglass, which was our freeman emperor that pretty much talking about the freemen here in this country, more so than some Marcus Garvey, who basically was your original coon with his flag and everything else. So if he answered that song, it's in the Jumbotron. Y'all can just look it up. But who said that? But look, let me say this right here. A lot of the religions, especially with dealing with Christianity, I wanted to put this up about the Three Musketeers because when you look at the Three Musketeers, that was one of the original reasons of how they had it at the chocolate bar and how the Musketeers was our freemen that were at a stake of their life to be spared from being with the as contrabands with the Confederates, but then they switched over to the Union so that they can fight with the Union. So that's a long story about that. But Frank Baker, Shepard Mallory, and James Townsend were three musketeers because they were the weapons. They were the muskets that became the musketeers as they have them in a chocolate candy bar and how they have it in the movie or something or a TV sitcom. So three of us, one of us. But let me get back to another thing about this cannibalism and how a lot of this stuff is in your Christian Bible. And I studied Christianity as far as I was a teacher. I gave out a lot of question and answer classes where if you look up in Deuteronomy 28 verse 53, Leviticus 26 verse 29, and 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 28, 29, it talks about eating children in the Bible. Now you probably ain't never heard of those verses because the pastor, preacher, evangel, whatever, ain't going to tell you about the verses because in your books right now. But they're not going to explain it because that's something that was involved in that religion itself. And with the fact that they wanted to kill the God or whoever wanted for Abraham to kill Isaac, but then just to test his faith. Why in the world would you want somebody to be tested by killing his son? That's in your Bible right now, Genesis 22. I'm not trying to get out some type of argument about that because I've already squashed that years and decades ago. I used to teach this stuff. But a lot of stuff has been evolving to have somebody drink the blood and eat the flesh. That's all part of trying to build yourself up on what that person stood for or that person's spirit. Because they have to say what spirit, the spirit is in the blood. Well, that's your energy. Spirit is energy. All this energy, your vibration, that's in blood right now. So if you're drinking blood, the wine or whatever, make it like it's wine and the flakes or the flesh, that's all cannibalism. The Eucharist knows more about that. That's part of that Christian aspect of the religion. And they got stuff with I think this hold up. I was gonna say about the this Giselle about the spirit cooking. Even the Kardashians got the video on YouTube talking about the placenta eating placentas. So this stuff has been going on for quite some time. Rima, what's that lady name? Maria Abramovich or something with Jay-Z. Lady that she deals with spirit cooking. It's the video. You can look it up. You got this guy named Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley used to do this with his book called Devil, with drinking the blood from a baby stove of trying to scare the baby, which is the adrenochrome. I think she talked about that, and that's how that is like an energy, a part of that stimulates person to drink and to get some type of stimulation into their domain. I'm like, it's sick, but this is what people have been doing for ages. I mean, complete ages, y'all. So this is, it's crazy. The book Without Sanctuary. Look that book up on Amazon. That book is like $200-something. You wonder why that book is so much because it was talking about the cannibalism of what they did when we was lynched in this country, which is a part of why they have parts of their books, the Christian Bible about when you hang somebody on a tree, they are cursed of God. That's why they kept hanging us on the tree because of what? That part of the Bible, because that's the whole reason why they brought Christianity into this country to justify them doing the thing that they did to us. So if you're gonna talk about religion, you gotta talk about the whole thing because look, it ain't no sugarcoat and just want to talk about God and being good and everything else. Talk about the whole thing because it deals with your ancestors that dealt with that. And our ancestors would not know anything about being a Christian. They don't know about being a human being because people justify
real quick, y'all, real quick, because we definitely kind of like
I ain't trying to go into the deep.
We definitely kind of going. So let's
I get it right there, man, because there's some more stuff that people need to realize. But
yeah,
a lot of other trajectories and stuff. I'll land.
No problem, bro. Let's go ahead and get the Mr. Engagement, and we got you, Wani. Well, you next? I can't. Yeah, you go ahead and then you a woman. You go ahead and get next.
So this person, Stephen, said that the root, Africa is the root of our greatness, and he's not going to let that go. That is what people think. But I made a presentation showing that we are genetically different from Africans and cannot be classified as Africans, and we're different than white people. So when we go to the doctor, we have to be classified differently because when we take a physical, certain things come up. Like we're predisposed to some autoimmune diseases because we used to fight malaria, but we don't fight it anymore. So we have to realize that we've mutated quite a bit over here, over 500 years. So he can laugh, but he said that Africa was the root of our greatness. That's why we're so good at music and sports. Africans aren't good at sports. They don't lead in any sports. The only sport they ever did was marathon running because nobody was interested. They don't lead in any sport. They should be leading in soccer. They should be leading in cricket and all those other sports over there that we don't play, but we busted the barriers in 50 sports and competitions, okay? And they did not. And And their pushback is, I'm going to answer the pushback before you do. Oh, you have the training. No, dear. We didn't have the training. The Negro Leagues had no training. The Harlem Globetrotters had no training. And those first football players and those hockey players that ended up in Nova Scotia, they didn't have any training. They were shunned from society. And the only reason that they put us on the team is because they knew they would win. They would get one magical Negro from those Negro leagues, put them on a team, and they would all of a sudden win. When they put an African on a European team, they don't win. In fact, the African gets bananas thrown at them. They have bananas in the stadium for sale to throw at them. They have nothing to do with us. They're not on our sports level at all. We are a whole different kind of thing. A thing called ethnogenesis happened over here, and it blended three different types of people together. And we have 5 to 6 different continents listed in our DNA and in our haplogroup. So we are a different thing. And so the other thing, we are the ones who created the Black consciousness movement, and the other ones didn't. For some reason, colonialism to them is harsher than slavery and colonialism. So I don't get that because, I mean, it's just a fact. I used to think that too. Oh, well, if we're good at this, then they should be twice as good. We're the ones with the music genres. We have the best dancers all over the world. We've been having prima ballerinas all over Europe. Now we can dance here. We're not as racist as this Oakland to dance. Africans are not the greatest dancers in the world. They are not the greatest singers. They do not have the music genres. Every music genre that they have now is traced back to them copying us. In fact, it's called African hip hop, just like Arab hip hop and all the other kinds of hip hop. They have Swedish hip hop, they have Inuit hip hop, they have every kind of group of people, Turkish hip hop, Greek hip hop. And they're no different, but they want to trick us into believing that they have some musical genius like us. No, we have musical genius, period. Undisputable. And no one is going to infringe on that. We are sports geniuses. We won the gold medals. We have boatloads of gold medals. And other people haven't even been in the Olympics yet over there in Africa. And there is no excuse. None. Absolutely no excuse. You have a full-blown country with a UN seat in these countries. And we didn't have any training, but we had natural talent. Natural talent. And that can't be disputed. There's no way to go against that, other than your jealousy and you're trying to latch on to our ethnicity.
All righty. Everybody's starting to go in a little bit now. Mr. Engaging, and then we're gonna get back to we'll get to I guess Shepard, and we'll get to Yule. Anybody else that wants to speak, go ahead and just raise your hand. Mr. Engaging, you there? Mr. Engaging may have some issues with his audio, so then we're gonna go ahead and go to Shepard. Shepard, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yo, peace. I ain't debating nothing. Bonnie said her opinion is her opinion. You know, she don't speak for me. She speaks for herself. And the things she says are facts. If she believes they're all facts, then that's her opinion. More power to you, sis. Whatever you believe. I'm good. I actually like you, Bonnie. No matter what you believe. I think you're a smart sister. And you do you. That's where I'm at with everything. You feel me? Like, we all gotta, like, sometimes concede that we just not gonna agree on everything, you know? As long as you don't represent me anywhere and I don't have to follow your lead and I don't agree with your lead, then other than that, what you eat don't make me fat. So I just wanted to say that because I know everybody be expecting me to come out with some fire, and that's not even gonna happen, yeah. Because honestly, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. It's tired of fucking fighting on on these apps, and nobody don't never change their mind. I could tell her that Tom Tellis was Carl Lewis's coach, a white man. I could tell her that we won the Olympic gold off of what's the name? The black athlete. He had a white coach. And, I could tell. Excuse me, sis. I let you talk. See, this is one of the discipline problems. We have a discipline problem.
Yeah, Wani, let him talk. Go ahead. All right, Shepard.
This is a discipline problem. It's an etiquette problem, and it's
Okay, Shepard, we got you. We're gonna let you go ahead and cook and go ahead and speak on your own. Everybody, let Shepard go ahead and get in his say, and then you can go ahead and we can go ahead and allow a rebuttal. So let's go ahead and let Shepard go ahead and speak. Go ahead, Shepard.
Oh, thank you, United Nations. I appreciate you, bro. You keep brothers safe in these streets. Look, what I said was very clear. I said that Africans and African Americans, to an extent, have 9 sequences of G members. That is the reason why we are super intelligent, super adaptable, why we absorb the sun, why we've endured horrific punishment, arms chopped off, legs chopped off, was able to navigate swamps based off the sun and innate, look that word up, innate abilities that come from wherever you want to attribute them. I ain't gonna debate with you. We know who we are. I'm not gonna. Why would I want to debate a topic of who created music and all? That's not what I'm talking about. Who's the best in sports? That's not what I'm talking about. That shit is neither here nor there. We're talking about our genome sequence, not white people poisoning us with their genes. Not that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something totally fucking different. We're talking about our genome. We have 9 genome sequences. That is the highest intelligent threshold for the human brain in the world. And African Americans who are not poisoned by white DNA. I'm not celebrating being poisoned by rapists. Picture me like celebrating being poisoned by fucking rapists, by white rapists. Like, oh yeah, I'm special. No, motherfucker, I'm not particular. Fuck out of here. Nigga, they poisoned us with their shit. I love who I am. I love my lineage. Have a 9-sequence genome, which makes us superior. How the fuck can you argue against that? Like, this shit is mind-boggling. Like, just say, yeah, okay, that's scientifically fair. Yeah. Listen, just can you just remain human for a minute? Stop coming off your mic. Stop coming.
Okay, Shepard, we're gonna go ahead and let you get it. Wani, go ahead, and I'm gonna let you after he finishes up. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get a chance to go ahead and rebuttal that. So, just go ahead and let him finish up because the more you interrupt, the longer Shepard gonna go. So just let him finish and say his point, and then you can go ahead and you can rebuttal what he's got to say. Go ahead.
I'm trying to get out of here diplomatically, man. Like, you already know I am. Look, all I'm saying is this, man. I will never, ever side with white supremacist imperialists over Africa. Period. We don't have to debate that. That's what I'm saying for myself. I don't want that for you if you don't want that for you. If you don't feel that way, that's on you. I don't give a fuck. Just be you. I'm gonna be me. You be you. The point still stands that you're factually incorrect in the motherfucking fighting sports. Look, 3 African champions all at once in MMA. They're the reigning champions, and one of them just got beat by a British African dude. So that what you saying, like trying to devalue somebody else, you don't have to do that to make your point that that African Americans are special. You don't have to do that because we don't have to degrade Africans to be the special people we are. We know we the shit. That's why I don't know why we at each other's necks. We know we the shit. I wouldn't give a fuck if 1,000 Africans said something negative about African Americans. They would be 0.000000001% of the fucking billion Africans. So it wouldn't make a difference. Everybody don't feel like 10 people feel. There's 50 people in this room? Everybody don't feel like the 50 of us. So we gotta let shit go sometimes and not be adversarial. I'd like to build with you, Ronnie. I'd like to build with anybody who want to build with me because I really ain't against you. I'm a land right there.
All right.
Okay, I don't want to build with you. I said what I said. We were enslaved. We created 50,000 patents between slavery and the 1940s. Africans did nothing. Neither did Chinese or Indian here. Neither did the Polish. Neither did the Italians. We are special. Let me go into that. Sports. When I was speaking about the first sports, I didn't say we didn't get training now, but you want to be ignorant. Okay? We do get training now, but we didn't get training before when we were recruited to go into all of those sports. And I don't care if he leagues. We did not get training in the Negro leagues from any kind of professional training. We trained ourselves, and we were just fucking good as fuck. That's what we were. We had raw talent. We are superior in sports, and all he can do is pull up some current athletes. We have centuries of sports excellence. Do you really want to compare? We can compare gold medals from Black Americans with the whole of Africa and blow them out of the water. Do you know who you are? We have more gold medals than the whole continent, including the Caribbean. They just started getting into the Olympics, and they're bragging about certain races that they won. We won all of the races. We got all of the gold medals in those races first. There, and I know a Haitian is not trying to talk about the Olympics, because if you win one medal, I don't even want to hear it on sports. You're not anything. You just started coming over here, and you cannot do anything. Repeat. Repeat after me. You cannot do anything in inventions, medicine, sports, astronaut. Yeah, astronaut. You didn't do that either, and we did. We put a woman in outer space. You cannot do anything like us unless you come over to America and climb up on my people's backs. Unless you crawl over to the UK and get some education over there and try to be something over there. You can't do it in Africa because there's nothing going on there. If that's the center and the seat of excellence, why don't you have a goddamn school? Yeah, I curse. Why don't you have a basic school that teaches things that are accredited? Why do you need to go to Ukraine and get a bomb dropped on your head to get a basic education? You're not going to overtalk, undertalk, or side talk me. We have 101 plus HBCUs that everybody drags over here to go to. Indians, Chinese, every African on earth comes over here, and Arabs, and white people coming into our HBCUs and telling us that Africa is the seat of greatness. Oh no, we created a new culture and a new seat of greatness that the world has never seen before. You can't come close to our humanitarian record with Africa and the rest of these other people that are not black. You can't come close to our sports record. You can't come close to our NASA record. We calculated the moon landing. You can't come close to our inventions. You'll never be able to do it. And even if you do get an invention, somewhere it's going to be on the backs of us. It's going to be into our HBCU. It's going to be
I don't know who that is with their mic or whatever. I don't know if that's one of the new speakers. I'm gonna go ahead and give you an opportunity to go ahead and shut it up while she's speaking. So whoever that is, go ahead and shut your speaker. Keep your damn phone on mute and let her finish speaking. Go ahead, Wani.
And that doesn't even include the civil rights that we got in this country that African countries and Caribbean countries can't even muster up. And they have to come over here just to get a bit of civilization. That makes no sense that 54 full-blown countries, UN seats, would need to flood over to somebody else's. There is no greatness there. The greatness is here, and that's where I'm focused. And they need to figure out their own stuff. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe the Caribbean anything. I don't owe Africans anything. I'm focusing on me.
And if that's a problem, then we have a problem. And no, I'm not joining in, and I'm not going to say you created hip hop and you're good at sports to pat you on the head. You just go get good at sports. Go get good at 50 different sports and events. And you still can't beat us because we're the foundational ones that did it.
Yep, we going in tonight. We got people going in definitely. Wani, I know she was on, and just so you know, Wani, of course, as you started speaking, Shepard did leave. Shepard, he was going to say what he had to say, and he was going to get up out of here. So he missed that part. But knowing Shepard, I expect him to. He's left already a few comments. I expect him to leave a couple more comments as well. So he's going to come back and he's going to say something. I know Shepard. He's not going to come back into space tonight, but he's definitely going to leave some comments. So. Let me go ahead and we got us a new speaker up in the house. I believe that's Mon Walker. So go ahead, Mon Walker, and go ahead and unmute your mic. I'm sorry, bro. We can barely hear you. Can you speak up a little bit louder? Say something again. I heard you a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you a lot better.
My bad. I had to unplug my shit out the car. All right, yeah, I just parked in the crib. Hey, I hope y'all niggas having a good ass Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all having a good Sunday, eating good. Sunday, man. Resting, being with your families and whatnot. To answer you ain't asked no question in your jumbotron, did you? Newstoter. How you say it?
Newstoter.
My bad, bro.
You good?
Ghana got the most American bases, like military bases. Ghana got the most, and this happened under the black president, so-called black president, even though he ain't even from this home. The so-called black president, he built all them military bases in Ghana and started AFRICOM. Am I tripping? And this son of a bitch said Africa gotta stop blaming colonialism for their problems. Now, I'm not even no African. I'm an American. But this little piece of shit pretending to be one of us gonna tell his own continent, right? This is continent men, like countrymen, continent men. He gonna tell these some bitches they gotta stop blaming colonialism for their problem. And then under his administration, he gonna build all these fucking military bases all over that goddamn continent, especially in Ghana. This is what this piece of shit did now. And he kinging. He more kinging than he is nigga. This little piece of shit. And I'm talking about Barack. Okay, I'm talking about Barack Obama. I'm talking about Obama. Okay. And who married to Big Mike, his husband. Okay. And this guy ain't did nothing but steal from us. This some bitch ain't do nothing but rob us. That's what he here for. He here to rob the original nigga from this one. Then this some bitch gonna tell Africa to stop colonialism for their problems while he killed Gaddafi. Right? His administration, the Obama administration, they killed Gaddafi. Let's keep it a bean. They say it. I ain't say that shit. Now Walker ain't make it up. They said this bitch Hillary was laughing about it. Am I tripping? Remember that when Hillary was laughing? I don't know if y'all remember that interview when she was Secretary of State, when she was administering foreign policy under the first Obama administration. This bitch thought it was funny to kill this guy.
Hey, bro, just a side note. Let's kind of chill a little bit on the cursing.
Okay, I'll stop the cursing, sir. I'm my bad. But the administration, she was wilding. Okay, this lady, I want to call it a B word so bad. This lady, she was administrating this foreign policy that killed a bunch of people, built all these military bases in Africa. And I'm not even no Pan-Africanist like that. But this is what happened. This is what they did. They violated them people over there. Then they tricked my people into thinking the shit was cool. Thinking the stuff was cool over here. So, we really can get into their butt. Pause.
we can really get into their butt though on this stuff. I want to say the A word. We can really get into them about what they've been doing this whole time in the African nation. Don't you know slavery legal in Libya because of what the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton did? Don't you know you can go over that bit? You can go over that some gun without I don't know $500 $500 you can go buy a child in Libya right now thanks to the administration of Obama. You could real deal go right now to Libya and buy a child, and that child do what the heck you want it to do for $500. A person, you can go buy a whole person, and that's your person. Like the same way you might hit a kennel up to get a goddamn gone pit or a rock. You can go get a person, a whole human. Thanks to this administration from 2022. Thanks for this administration from like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So we got to talk like we have to really put these people feet to the coals. That's all. And they act like it ain't like I'm saying some tenfold conspiracy. No, this was at CNN. This whole time they said this shit, not me. Mal Walker didn't say the same. Mal Walker put no tenfold hat. This is what they said and did. This is how they did it. Them people so gangster. They was like, yeah, MNF, we did this. And what? So we have to really put these people's feet to the coals and be like, that was kind of fouled up what you did to them folks. Even though they ain't necessarily got nothing to do with us in America, because we're Americans anyway. They ain't gonna do nothing but rob us. Or they trying to rob us over here. But the topic is about Africa and Ghana. They building all those military bases. So the apology for slavery. You let these people come over here and build military bases all in your country, your stuff, and you let them people build all these military bases in your shit in our land right there, because that's what it is. Like, how dare you let somebody come in your hood, your block, and set up shop? Are they paying tribute to these African countries? I think not. But they building military bases. They over there. Interfering. Well, and it's low key. They using Africa as a buffer for China, because China over there building their stuff up too, and trying to take control of the African economy and whatnot. But you know how to do it. We'll see how it all play out. We got CNN. We're gonna see what they do. Thank you, Mr. Host. Y'all have a good Sunday. I'm gonna shut the F up.
Appreciate you. Glad to have you up in the space, bro. Yul, I know you wanted to add something. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes. So I wanted to talk about the apology thing. So there was a summit like last week, or I would say like last or 2 weeks ago, about the African and Caribbean summit they had about investing and stuff like that. So the leaders, I think it was like Nigeria, Ghana, Algeria, Kenya, they actually mentioned the diaspora about about investment, stuff like that. And I want to talk about the aid stuff that goes on in these countries. For example, my country, Haiti, right? America sends aid to Haiti. I think like $30 million, no, 43 million dollars so far that went to Haiti so far this year. None of it actually benefits the people. It actually benefits the people and the government. It just how to say, like, America used aid money to how to boost up their influence in the country of these countries. So it doesn't really benefit the people. It actually makes these countries more poor as beggars. You can look up any African country, and just for mines, we are actually in turmoil. We're actually burning the World Health centers. We're actually burning them. Like the other day, right? The citizens of Haitians, right? They actually burned rice, American rice, because they don't want it. They don't want American stuff. They don't want American aid anymore. We actually want to build our own rice. The problem is America, not you guys, but the American government as a whole is putting their wills into the people. The people are like into the people, and the people don't want it, and stuff like that. So it just It's just the American foreign policy is fucked up for the whole world.
All right, brother. I appreciate that. Misengaging, are you back? I know you was having some issues with connection. Are you back, Mr. Engaging? All right. Is there anybody else that would like to had a question that you guys would like to add, anything like that? Had some pretty good speakers tonight. Is there anybody else that wants to add to this discussion about Ghana and African nations issue apology for their role in slavery? If not, then guys, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna close the space out. We've been going for a couple hours. You guys know our usual. We're usually here Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I see Charles, you requested to come up and speak. Would you like to add to the conversation tonight? You can go ahead and unmute your mic, Charles.
Yeah, thanks for hosting this. Having some phone issues, keep getting booted out. I don't know why. Some connectivity issues. Ghana and African nations issue apology. So I must have missed it. Was this in the news today, or?
Yes, sir. It's actually in the jumbotron, all the way to the far right. And so much stuff has been added to the jumbotron. The third on the right. This was actually published by Black Enterprise today. Curator on the Newstoter.com platform. For anybody that has not, make sure you guys visit Newstoter.com, the largest curator of Black news a day in America. Yes, sir. It was actually this was actually and they're actually going to have an actual assembly here in Kansas City, I believe, September 28th. We're going to have over 100 Ghanaians here on actual American soil talking about this issue.
Okay. And this is the government of Ghana, which would be then either the Songhai Empire or Negro Land or Dahomey and Benin. Doing the transatlantic slave.
Now that much I did not see in the actual article. That much I couldn't see, but like I said, if you the article is the third on the right in the jumbotron. If you click that, it will take you. So I couldn't really say exactly who, but like I say, I know it's over 100. You have over 100 Ghanaians that's going to be here, dignitaries, and it's going to be taking place September 28th in Kansas City. Kansas. I think it's Kansas. I think it's Kansas. So you'd have to actually look in the article. I actually read it at the beginning of the actual Twitter space. But yeah, you would go ahead though.
So okay, that's great though. These are academics or economists or government officials from Ghana. I still haven't seen the article. I'm trying to get to. Every time I go, my phone keep very unstable. And I would like to read that article, but I take your word for it. I'm going to check it out. I can pull it up. Well, I can Google it and pull it up. But that's interesting. Are they meeting with U.S. officials? I'd like to know that. Or just with Black Americans in general?
I think it's going to be Black Americans.
Okay, as the audience. Well, that's pretty good because I know a lot of Black Americans and Negro Americans would like to, they know we come from somewhere. I know we made a trip across the Atlantic, and more likely than not, and would like to get to the bottom of it. What other than Ghana? What other African governments are participating in this forum?
That's the only one that I know so far, sir. It's just Ghana. That's who was talked about in the actual article. So that's the only one that I know of.
Okay. All right. Well. That's interesting. That's good because we definitely need many of the West African countries to own up to a lot of stuff that happened, and that's a good thing, I think. And that's I think a lot of Black Americans and Negroes here would appreciate some of the African governments reaching out, and owning up to their participation in the slave trade. We know that most of the European governments we're in hot pursuit of free labor, but we like to see that we know that some African governments and tribes, warring factions competing against each other, also contributed to this demise of going to that tree of forgetfulness and to the point of no return. Yeah, I would like to check that out. You said October or September 28th in Kansas City.
I believe so. I'd have to look at the article. I believe it's Kansas City. I believe it might be Kansas City, Kansas. I don't know if it's Kansas City, Missouri, but you'd have to look at the actual article just to take a look again. But yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Okay, well, thank you for holding this space tonight. Appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. And we're going to get ready to go ahead. We've been going for a little while tonight, so we're going to get ready to close the space out. I want to thank everybody who came in tonight. You guys can catch us tomorrow night, and you can catch us Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we hold these spaces and we discuss critical issues in the Black community. For those that's not following, make sure you follow Newstoter, the largest curator of Black news a day in America. For all the people that's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And for that, we'll go ahead and see you guys tomorrow night. We'll be discussing some other issues. So you guys make sure you click on that notification for the actual Twitter space, and we'll see you guys then. Everybody have a good night.